of all the hot-shot, up-and-coming quarterbacks that burst onto the scene last year in 2013, Drew Willie probably had the fewest snaps of all of them, and yet the Bombers went out and made him their #1 guy, and boy, are they glad they did. He's taken the Bombers to 2-0 so far in 2014, alongside Milton, Matthew, and Christopher. Welcome to CFL and TSN. I'm stepping in for Rod Smith, who he took a holiday. A little break. He was exhausted. He did 2 weeks with us. He said, I need a break, and he's gone. Wow. He will be back. I'm here temporarily. Okay. Guys, let's talk about these Bombers. And I know you still wear Winnipeg Blue Bomber pajamas to bed every single night, so maybe this question isn't fair. However, the Bombers, albeit 2-0, have maybe not had the stiffest of opposition. Do you think we should take something away from them for that?
Not at all. And if they win this game and start off 3-0, which they haven't done since 2003, you got to be a Blue believer. You know, all the changes they made in the offseason, new president, new GM, new head coach, and more importantly, a new quarterback stepping in who's never been a starter. All these young guys. If they're 3-0, and I know they haven't been challenged by the Western teams yet, you got to believe in them, man.
You ask Toronto and you ask Ottawa if they're believing in Winnipeg right now. I guarantee they're saying, yes, it's a good football team, and I think they found a running back. Not only found a quarterback jock, but they found a running back. Nick Grigsby. This kid can do it all. He's kind of like two-way out west now as a two-way Whitaker. He's going after. And then a big move on the defensive side of the ball in Gary Echeverry's defense. Johnny Sears moves back to the free safety spot and they're starting a Canadian Schultz, a strong side linebacker. I love this move. I'm interested in seeing, one, how Teague plays at the strong side spot, and certainly this kid, Johnny Sears, at the free safety spot, looking for Winnipeg's first interception in the season defensively.
You know what surprises me about these two teams at this point of the season is I thought for sure Troy Smith would be playing like Drew Willie would be playing, and I thought for sure Drew Willie would be playing like Troy Smith. Again, a big game for the Montreal quarterback, Troy Smith. 29 times he threw the football. 24 of them were immensely conservative. He had only one deep ball, 38 yards. He has to change that because this league is about big plays. It's hard to put together those 10, 12, 14-play drives. So once again, Troy Smith, you got to show up and improve.
Well, two quarterbacks looking to make their mark. And Drew Willie, has a chance to really make his mark for the Bombers in that he might be the only quarterback in 2 years who's had more than 2 wins in a season. Michelle O'Rourke of Winnipeg, you could win the ultimate $25,000 home theater package from Visions Electronics if a kickoff is returned for a touchdown in today's game, thanks to Safeway's Touchdown to Win promotion. And if a second kickoff is returned for a touchdown in today's game, you could win $1 million. Good luck, Michelle. As the Alouettes do their traditional walk to the field, high-five, boys, I remember.
To Montreal, picture-perfect night at Percival Molson Stadium on the island of Montreal at McGill University. The quick start, upstart, Winnipeg Blue Bombers 2-0 against the 1-1 Montreal Alouettes.
And it was lucky number 7 for the Montreal Alouettes last week. John Bowman named Defensive Player of the Week after a 4-sack performance in the win over the BC Lions. And lucky number 7 on the other side, Demond Washington, having an impact in 2 phases of the game. Already one of the CFL's top defensive backs. A huge 96-yard kickoff return touchdown last week. One of the plays of the game against Ottawa.
Blue Bombers have Winnipeg talking. Mike O'Shea has been perfect so far as a young head coach. Future Hall of Famer in the game, is a great player. Looking for win number 3. And on the other side, Tom Higgins back in the CFL as a head coach. 6 years away as the director of officiating, back in Montreal on a night when another old coach is back in the house.
Yeah, Mark Trestman on hand, being honored here tonight by the Alouettes organization. The guy who set a lot of the standards still being followed by Tom Higgins' Alouette squad.
There's Paris Cotton, one of the newcomers for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. He's the lone guy back at his 10-yard line. Sean White will kick this off tonight. Bombers 2-0. The Owls bouncing back last week to even their record. Ready to roll here in Montreal. We're underway on a perfect Friday night for football. Here's Cotton. Great block there. Has the outside, and Paris Cotton high-stepping to the midfield stripe and beyond. A great return for Paris Cotton out of Central Michigan.
Paris Cotton has afforded great field position to Drew Willie and the rest of this offense. Willie, back-to-back 300-yard games to start the season. That hasn't been done by a Winnipeg quarterback with back-to-back 300-yard passing games since Kevin Glenn did it twice in 2008. Clarence Denmark, pretty good numbers against Montreal last season. Another of the big performances from a week ago. Running back Nick Grigsby found the end zone 3 times.
Willie in a tight formation here, man in motion, will hand it off to Grigsby. He's got running room now, and Nick Grigsby takes it to the 30-yard line. He's knocked out of bounds over there by Marc-Olivier Brouillette. So a great start again for the surprising Blue Bombers in this early season.
And for the Montreal Alouettes, they'll have their hands full trying to stop the momentum. They'll look to leader like John Bowman, Marco Brouillette on defense. They're the veterans. Newcomer Jamon Webb gets to start at field corner in place of another injured first-year player, Chris Smith.
Our starters to watch brought to you by Napa Auto Parts, where custom advice comes standard. Montreal team that has been led by its defense the last couple of seasons. The main reason why the Alouettes were able to go to the postseason last November. Looks like Grigsby's gallop on the far side is a little bit short, 2nd in inches now, but everybody's talking about this undefeated Blue Bomber team and how the league right now is upside down. 2 teams last year, Winnipeg and Edmonton, 3-15, 4-14, and both of those teams at the bottom of the CFL a year ago, now at the top, undefeated.
And you give credit to the front offices of those respective teams. And a couple of new head coaches made their way from the Toronto Argonaut organization. Former Argo coordinators Mike O'Shea in Winnipeg, Chris Jones in Edmonton, getting their new clubs off to those quick starts.
So 2nd down in inches. Robert Marv, 3rd-string quarterback, handles the short yardage, and he will pile ahead and move the chains.
One of the keys to the Winnipeg Blue Bombers' quick start, of course, is the consistent play that they've received at quarterback thus far. We mentioned Willie over 300 yards each of his first 2 games. There you see the total numbers. Completion percentage, 66%. Over 600 total yards, 4 touchdown passes versus 2 picks. Taking care of that football.
Willie under protection, has a man. Clarence Denmark off a helmet and up in the sky, and Denmark could not come down with it. Good coverage, but for a moment Clarence Denmark had some separation.
A little bit of pressure on True Willie on that one, courtesy of Kai Hebert, who brings everything he's got coming off the edge. Watch from the bottom of your screen, defensive left. Nick Grigsby has to step up and take him on. Does a pretty good job against as physical as linebackers you're going to find in the CFL.
2nd down and 10. Here come the Owls again. And Willie's in trouble, rolls, dodges, and throws it over the top. Penalty flags fly. Willie was dusted at the 40. That was a late flag. There was a flag earlier down near the 28-yard line. Al Bradbury is our referee tonight. He will sort it out for us.
It looked like Chip Cox jumped, trying to time up his blitz from the defensive left. And that was the early flag.
They did get to Drew Willie. Alan Michael Cash was very close to Willie.
Offside, Montreal, number 11. Major foul, roughing the passer, Montreal, number 9.
It was Cash who roughed up Drew Willie. Let's take a look.
Cox at the bottom of the screen is early. Alan Michael Cash is going to get called for the low hit there, going below the knees on the quarterback, Willie. Technically is still within the pocket at that time.
So this Winnipeg offense has been quite good to start the season, trying to punch it into the end zone on an opening drive. Play action, Willie, end zone, corner route, no one home. Looking again for Clarence Denmark. And again, Drew Willie pressurized.
Well, you're seeing the complete premise of this Montreal defense. They're going to bring pressure, they're going to rush the passer, they're going to force him into inaccurate throws. Watch for Chip Cox coming off one side, Jeff Tisdale coming off the other. It's going to force Drew Willie to put this ball up earlier than he wants. Tough to make an accurate throw under those circumstances with white jerseys in your face.
Second down and 10. Willie again fires, and it's caught by Rory Colehurt, but it will be well short of a first down. Caught near the 10-yard line. So it will bring out the Bombers' field goal unit. Lirim Hajrullahu, former Western kicker who has been perfect so far this season in his first season in the CFL.
Hajrullahu, undrafted in 2013, went back to play his 5th year at Western. Turned in a very good season to cap off a terrific career. Signed by the Bombers as a free agent. As you said, off to a great start here at 4 for 4 to open the season.
Backup quarterback Brian Brom is the holder. Hajrullahu is now 5 for 5, and the Blue Bombers, after Paris Cotton's first touch in the CFL, went for 51 on the return. The Bombers strike first. Troy Smith, the former Heisman Trophy winner. Where's number 1 is number 1. The slope of Mount Royal here in Montreal, 3-0. Visiting Winnipeg Blue Bombers opening drive. Hajrullahu puts it in the air. Larry Taylor back in Montreal for a second time. Picks his way through, and a nice return as well. 2 good returns for both sides to start this one. Now Troy Smith brings his offense to the field. Paramount for Troy Smith to start to find some precision.
Yeah, and I think one of the things that's going to help Troy Smith is if he continues to use his legs as he did last week, 6 carries for 55 yards for the Alouette quarterback, and get the running backs involved. They're fortunate to have a fullback in Stephen Limbala who can carry the rock. He had 6 carries in last week's game, and I'd like to see Brandon Whitaker with the ball in his hands even more. 15 touches, 12 carries last week for number 2.
Troy Smith yet to throw a touchdown pass through 2 games. Penalty flag on the far side. Brandon Whitaker. Waiting for the call here. Whitaker, the spark plug again for the Alouettes a couple seasons ago, beset by injury. And Tom Higgins told us yesterday, just so good to have a healthy number 2 back in the lineup.
Procedure, illegal formation, Montreal, no win. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
His coach, Higgins. His team last week bouncing back after an embarrassing opening season loss in Calgary. Win against BC. Whitaker had a big touchdown in that game. 4-man rush. There goes the football. And looking inside for Chad Johnson, and another penalty flag.
Defender in a little bit early on that slant intended for Johnson. It's Matt Buckner, the corner.
So much talk about, when it is Buckner, so much talk about Ocho Cinco. Chad Johnson, the former Cincinnati Bengal great, came to Canada. We had a chance to chat with him yesterday.
Winnipeg, number 2. Ball will be spotted at point of foul. Automatic first down.
And for all the candor and sometimes controversy that surrounded this guy in his time in the National Football League, he has been nothing but a model citizen coming to Montreal, and has been really refreshing to talk to.
No, model citizen, parking tickets aside.
Except for parking tickets. He's got, what, 16?
Something like that.
He's got to use public transit. Troy Smith dumps it off. There's Whitaker now. The juke on the sideline up near the midfield stripe. Very close to a first down.
Take a look at this Winnipeg defense that's played so well to start the season. The veteran defensive end, Greg Peach, 2 forced fumbles to lead the CFL in the early going. Mentioned Matt Buckner, who's been tested early but has held up well in that field corner. 2nd in the CFL with 13 tackles. Teague Sherman from the University of Manitoba gets the start at the strong side linebacker tonight. 2nd-year man from the University of Manitoba.
Hold him.
Takes that spot from Johnny Sears, who again goes back to free safety with Mo Leggett out. And Tanner Marsh puts his head down and plows through to move the sticks. So far, both offenses marching the football early on here.
Take a look back at last week's game. The Alouettes' victory over the BC Lions. Troy Smith under 200 yards passing, but helped himself considerably with those 55 rushing yards. As this season goes on, I truly believe the more that Troy Smith forces teams to defend what he does with his legs, the easier it will become for him to threaten with his arm.
Handoff as Kenny Stafford. The end around and the sweep. See the speed of Kenny Stafford. He's the cousin of Duron Carter. The Alouettes missing Duron Carter tonight. He's not in the lineup.
Kenny Stafford, a guy who was in training camp with the Montreal Alouettes a year ago, was a late cut, ended up catching on mid-season with the Calgary Stampeders, for whom he played a couple of games. Released from Calgary in the off-season. Came back to Montreal, terrific training camp, and finds himself in the starting lineup.
Guy with good speed, lives up to the name of his university, the Toledo Rockets. Can fly. Smith, strong arm. There's Chad Johnson, he's got it! And Ocho Cinco has touched down in Canada.
As a scoring play, this is going to be reviewed. Winnipeg is lobbying that Chad Johnson didn't survive the contact with the ground when he came down with that football.
And my goodness, we're so used to the touchdown bravado and swagger of Chad Johnson. I think this is going to stand.
I think so too.
But we're so used to all the stuff and the theatrics. The first thing he does, he hugs an official. Have we seen a new Chad Johnson here? Where's the phone? Where's the dance? Where's the old Ocho Cinco?
Hug it out. Hug it out.
Hug it out. So Chad Johnson's first CFL touchdown. Caps off a big drive from Troy Smith. 46-yard connection. And Ocho has arrived. That was the first in the CFL for Chad Johnson.
Nice throw here from Troy Smith. Chad Johnson's on the outside. He's just got that straight go route. He demonstrates that he's still got the wheels. At 36 years of age.
Still has the love for the officials. Jocelyn Paul, the side judge, gets a hug from Ocho Cinco. That was priceless. 7-3, Alouettes. Second touch now for Paris Cotton. Look out, this guy can move. Diminutive Paris Cotton, who caught the eyes of the Blue Bombers during training camp.
Cotton doing a nice job in the return game in response to this play. Johnson's on the outside. He's got to go. Typically, that's a clearing route for an out coming on the inside. He's going to get that outside release, but as Troy Smith looks up, he sees the inside receiver, S.J. Green, gets jammed. Meanwhile, Chad Johnson has got about 2 or 3 steps on the corner. Buckner, he decides to take a shot. Johnson rewards him with the touchdown. 36
years old, Chad Johnson still can move. And so can this guy, Nick Grigsby. Chip Cox with a shoestring tackle. Otherwise, that could have been a huge gain. So Chad Johnson getting some congratulations from Jim Pop, general manager, who signed a new 3-year extension yesterday.
Yeah, maybe getting some congratulations of his own. So he's going to stay with the Montreal Alouettes after much speculation about his future, as he was in the last year of his old contract.
Drew Willie again, now rolls and fires to dump it off to Grigsby, but that looks like a loss, maybe 2 or 3. Gerald Brown in on the tackle, and that was read perfectly from the get-go.
One thing you know about the Montreal Alouettes defense under Noel Thorpe is they're going to be aggressive. They're going to attack the line of scrimmage. They're going to get after the quarterback. 2 things the Bombers need to do to be successful. One is going to be to run the football. Another is going to be to hit a couple of big plays to try and take some of that aggression out of the Owls.
Passing down, here they come again. Julien Godino is back in Quebec for former star Laval, and a penalty flag later, a costly one here. This would have stopped the drive for the Blue Bombers, but instead, Jamon Webb is going to be penalized here. It will keep the drive moving.
It's likely.
Major foul, unnecessary roughness, Montreal, number 34. 15-yard penalty from the end of the play. First down.
Not as much the timing of the hit as the targeting of the hit. Head-to-head contact.
Delivered a blow to the helmet here as he was down. So the drive continues for the Blue Bombers. Godino again a star in Laval. Rougeau was with the Argos. Godino, he's already had a touchdown this season. Here's a guy for 2 years with the Toronto Argonauts, was primarily used as a special teams player, did not catch a pass.
Winnipeg, number 68. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Primarily a special teams player, but a special teams player who was coached by Mike O'Shea. His new head coach sense that Julien Godino could be a little bit more if given the opportunity. Brought him to Winnipeg. He's been a great signing for them with Corey Watson again battling injuries. Godino's gotten an opportunity and has made the most of it.
They'll throw again, 1st and 15. Grigsby sends out 6 receivers for Drew Willie. And Willie escapes and throws and has a man. And it is Colhert again, another big gainer down inside the red zone near the 18-yard line. It's a pickup of 24 yards. Rory Colhert's second catch here tonight.
This is one of the things that's been much talked about with Drew Willie here in his early Blue Bomber career. Poise under pressure. Chip Cox gets a hand on him, but you see constantly the eyes are downfield. Remains focused on trying to make a play, getting the ball to a receiver, and finds Colhert on the sideline as a result.
Willie again, here comes the house. There goes the football, and trying to battle for it is Nick Moore in double coverage with Briette and Chip Cox retreating as well, so it will be second down.
All part of what makes Chip Cox one of the Canadian Football League's elite defensive players is his versatility. We've seen him close to the line of scrimmage, involved in the blitz package. Had a career high in sacks last season, but a former defensive halfback who has moved to the linebacker position. Still a very good cover guy and one of the fastest players in the Canadian Football League.
Noise is pumped up here. Willie rolls and to the end zone, knocked away. Good defensive play by Jeff Tisdale. Tisdale so adept at knocking balls away, and also last year the interception leader in the Canadian Football League, working one-on-one with Clarence Denmark.
And not allowing Denmark any separation on that play. A little bit of hand fighting between the two. Tisdale, as you mentioned, the CFL leader with 7 picks a year ago, playing on the island, the boundary corner spot.
Iralahu with his second attempt. And the Blue Bombers are going to challenge pass interference. They took a look at the replay from above and radioed down to Mike O'Shea and said, why not? Mike O'Shea wasn't necessarily a big proponent of this new rule early in the preseason. We had a chance to chat with him. But he's already had a challenge on a pass interference early in the season. And one here tonight.
Well, and here it's a matter of trying to keep his offense on the field, giving them an opportunity with that battle in the end zone between Denmark and Tisdale, trying to position his offense to punch it in for a touchdown.
Winnipeg is challenging the previous plays for pass interference. It will be illegal.
And you talked about the hand fighting. It's obvious that Tisdale clutched the jersey, but did Denmark, right there, Denmark also had his hand out, but you can see he's clearly got his jersey.
The issue is going to be more with the ball thrown away. The question of whether Tisdale is preventing Denmark from getting back out to that football. Again, hand fighting, it's going to be a little bit of clutch and grab, and it's going to be a matter of what you determine the level of tolerance to be.
Again, the Canadian Football League instituting replay on pass interference this season. And in many ways, it was a result of what happened in the playoffs here last year and the controversy surrounding an interference, potential interference call late in the game that really precipitated the talks in the offseason to bring this rule into place.
Yeah, and it's something that had been talked about for a couple of years. Is there was a feeling, obviously, that it's a difficult call to make, and the desire to get the call right ultimately led to this. It can be game-changing plays.
Certainly for Mike O'Shea, his team has its first drive stalled and settles for a field goal. This would keep, again, them marching the football if the call is overturned on the field, which was incomplete pass and in fact is interference. Talk so often about the fact that interference in some ways, in many ways, unless it's blatant or egregious, is a judgment call.
Yeah, very much so. And that's been much of my position on the replay review of pass interference, is that no matter what speed you're viewing the play, it's still going to be a judgment call, as we're seeing right here.
Back at the command center, they're looking at it, looking at it. You know, we've had a few of these challenges already, and you get a feeling that some of them set precedents. Now, if this, in fact, is penalty interference, you can bet that there will be a lot more challenges on the clutch.
No doubt. No doubt. And oftentimes, it's going to depend on what's at stake as to whether a coach is willing to throw that flag. As I said, Mike O'Shea, if this is at midfield, probably isn't throwing the flag, but this involves points, and he's going to take them.
After review, we're calling pass interference, Montreal, number 12. That foul occurred in goal. The ball will be placed on the 1 yard line. First down, Winnipeg.
Yeah, it is a bit of a poker game, though. Know when to throw that flag, know when to hold that flag. And for this time, it works out again for Mike O'Shea and the Blue Bombers.
Talking to some coaches around the league, what you may see is teams trying to ensure that they have an available challenge for late in the game if they get into a close game in a situation where you may have a Hail Mary type situation at the end of the game. You want to be able to challenge that with a ball thrown into the end zone.
So thanks to video replay, and the new rule this year, the Bombers scrimmage at the 1. Robert Marv goes left side, and he squirms in for the touchdown. A successful challenge from Mike O'Shea and the Blue Bombers, and they move back in front.
Robert Marvin with his second touchdown of the season. He's just going to take it off tackle to the left side. Defensive lineman Bryant Turner in there with the lead block. Nice job by the short yardage team. Nice job by Mike O'Shea and his spotters. Make the decision on that challenge.
6 minutes to go, opening quarter, and so far it's been all offenses. Both sides. Wahoo with the convert, 10-7 Blue Bombers. Challenge works out. Marv punches it in at Molson Stadium. Wendy's Friday night. After a successful drive, and most importantly for the Blue Bombers on that drive, a successful challenge on an interference call. Bombers with a 3-point lead. Good return so far, been the staple of this night. Larry Taylor brings it up to the 32-yard line. So much has been made so far for Troy Smith coming out for his second series about his accuracy. How does he feel about that?
Regardless of what people say, the accuracy portion of playing quarterback gets better for everybody. You want to come out in tip-top shape, starting every game, completing every pass, ending every game, completing every pass. But in actuality, it's not going to happen like that. I'd much rather have an incompletion than an interception any day, so they can chastise me all they want.
Pitch to Brandon Whitaker so far tonight. No problems with the accuracy for Troy Smith, who has a cannon-like arm. Tom Higgins told us a couple of weeks ago that he has an arm very similar to Henry Burris, and that's saying something. You saw it on the Chad Johnson touchdown. But tonight so far, 100% for Troy Smith, 2 for 2.
And it's going to be a matter of creating an offensive scheme tailored to Troy Smith and tailored to his strengths and avoiding his weaknesses. This is something we talked about in week 1. This is something that's going to take a little bit of time. I'm not sure Troy Smith knows his strengths and weaknesses relative to the Canadian game yet.
Brandon Whitaker has stood up and tossed right down Brian Turner. He tried to bury one up the gut. It will be 3rd down, and Sean White will come out. White's got some terrific kicking numbers so far. Not field goal kicking, but punting so far. Average of about 49 yards and a number of great angled kicks. There's Damon Washington. Took one back, 96 yards against Ottawa a week ago. 2 outstanding return men in the game here tonight. Sky high, Washington cuts it back and has nowhere to roam, and again more nylon. A penalty flag way back at the 42-yard line. 52-yard kick, just a 7-yard return. Alouette is also down. It's like Mike Edom, the former Calgary Dino.
During the return, major foul, face mask, Montreal, number 95. 15-yard penalty at the end of play, 1st down.
Already, Montreal 6 penalties, 68 yards tonight. Been costly for the Alouettes. Tom Higgins doesn't like it. Drew Willie brings his offense out on the field. 4 minutes to go, opening quarter in Montreal. The Bombers up 10-7. Mike O'Shea. With more on that, let's go to the sideline. Here's John Liu.
Well, thank you, Rod. And for many of the Blue Bombers players who suffered through last year's 3-15 season, they say they've completely bought into what Mike O'Shea is selling. But from O'Shea's standpoint, he says what's more important is that the players buy into each other. And here's a good example. During training camp, the players weren't given breaks in between sessions long enough for them to be able to go home and spend their downtime. They essentially had to stay together, spend time together, interact, and get to know each other. So really, by O'Shea's design, he was conducting a team-building exercise for his players who didn't realize it, but might have thought it was a little bit strange at the time that they didn't really have those breaks. So there's just an example of how he's trying to get these guys to buy into one another. Guys?
Thanks, John. So far, the buy-in has been full in for the Blue Bombers, although Mike O'Shea says they haven't done anything yet. 2-0 doesn't mean anything until this season really gets going, and now Drew Willie is in trouble and throws it away. Willie is getting rid of that football. And Mike O'Shea, again, first season as head coach, is drawing rave reviews from his players, including a guy who used to be his teammate.
He came in and completely changed the culture of the locker room. It reminds me a lot of what he was able to do as a player. He had an infectious personality that was able to get along with everyone, and he had the ability to tell everybody, what they needed to do in a way that they understood what was expected of them.
Well, that time, Glenn January and company could not keep the Wolves at bay. Michael Clausen with the sack on Drew Willie. January and Dan Knapp, they're the tackles. And Glenn January used to play alongside Mike O'Shea.
That time the initial pressure came from the other tackle, Dan Knapp. Pretty good bull rush there from the second-year man, Mike Clausen. Great mid-round pick by the Owls last year.
So this time the Alouettes defense rises up. Taylor goes backwards and is driven back, and a penalty flag. Chris Randall, the former Calgary Stampeder, downfield very quickly.
During the return, holding, Montreal, number 8, 10-yard penalty, first down.
Alouettes taking a slew of penalties here so far tonight. Have to regain some composure here. The ball now back to their 30-yard line. It's a big difference in yardage here. Smith back in the pocket, back at work. Ball thrown behind Eric Deloria. There's that issue of accuracy. When Troy Smith has been off in his first 2 games, it's not just been off by a little increment, it's been way off.
It's typically been on the longer throws where he's had that issue, but that time well off the mark on the underneath route. Here you see Ryan Dinwiddie, man charged with calling the plays for this Montreal Alouette offense.
Yeah, he used to be a quarterback in Winnipeg. Catch on the far side, hauled in by Brandon London. 6th catch of the season. Dinwiddie, of course, was the quarterback for the Blue Bombers. They were in the Grey Cup game in 2007. Quality control coach a year ago. Was supposed to be the quarterback's coach this season, but Rick Warman was fired during training camp, and Ryan Dinwiddie is kind of the de facto offensive coordinator.
Yeah, doesn't hold that title, but with a lot of help, support, input from offensive line coach Chris Sweet.
Whitaker, swarm.
Ryan Dinwiddie involved with putting that game plan together. Again, the guy who calls the plays on game day. Though unofficially, the offensive coordinator.
Second down. 7 yards to go here, 1:20 to go. Both teams came out of the gate firing here tonight, scoring on their first possessions. Defense is settling in now. 4-man rush now, only 3. Smith has loads of time, and he guns one. Again downfield. Oh, what a catch! Brandon London, a beauty. And what a throw from Troy Smith. 48-yard bomb.
Well, Troy Smith must have heard the talk about him being off on the deep balls, because he has been dead on twice tonight. A little bit of help here. Brandon London with a fantastic outstretched over-the-shoulder catch.
Here's one for the highlight reel, folks. S.J. Green usually comes up with those astonishing grabs and routinely makes the highlight reel. Now joined by Brandon London. End zone bound in traffic. There is S.J. Green. He made a fabulous catch a week ago. Would have needed some acrobatics and theatrics there, up in double coverage.
Yeah, S.J. Green lines up as number 3 receiver to the field. He's working on kind of a deep out or flat corner, if you want to call it that, but the corner, Matt Buckner, comes off at Chad Johnson to help out. Johnny Sears in that coverage, making it a real tough throw for Smith.
Second down now in the red zone. A year ago, the Alouettes were last in the CFL. Red zone percentage, a wobbler, a duck. And Troy Smith has to pick himself up like he got hit as he threw that football. So they'll bring out the kick team when we change sides. That was the final play of the opening quarter. 15 minutes complete here. The Blue Bombers lead 10-7. The Alouettes will bring out Sean White to tie it at 10 when we come back.
One chance, Mark Dressman.
Bon chance, Mark Trestman. They said that a lot here in Montreal, a guy who took his team to 3 Grey Cup games, winning 2 of them back-to-back. Mark Trestman now the head coach of the Chicago Bears, and he's back in town. Welcome home to your second home,
Coach.
Great.
It's great to be home, guys. We're just overwhelmed to be here.
Sean White, your old kicker, just ties the game up. So what's it like? I mean, we haven't seen you since you went down south. What's it like to be back here in Montreal and watch this current edition of the Alouettes?
It feels like home. Excited to see the team play. Watched the first 2 weeks and saw them progress. Obviously come back from a tough first week loss and had a big win and got a fast start here. Got a couple of defensive penalties that really hurt them. They could have gotten possession of the ball back quicker and had a chance to score, but it looks like it's going to be a highly competitive game tonight.
Mark, what are some of the memories that come rushing back to you being here at Molson Stadium?
I think the biggest memories are the players in the locker room, the friendships and the relationships that we had with players, coaches and players alike, and just playing in this stadium. It's such a great venue to play in. It seemed like every night was like this when we played in Montreal, and the support and love of our fans. It always feels like we're home.
You, of course, are now down in the States, obviously keeping tabs on your old team, particularly last year when the Alouettes, it was a struggle last year in so many ways.
Yeah, it's a new year. Tom's got great experience and got an opportunity to bring this group together, and there's a foundation of guys, and there's Jim Pop. Jim Pop is still here, and as long as he's here, the Als are always going to be competitive.
Can you stick with us for
sure.
a bit here? Come on in, Coach. 10-10 game. Harris Cotton inches his way up near the 35-yard line. So I know for so many years it was a dream of yours to be a head coach in the National Football League. And what you did here in Montreal, I know the legacy that you have. There's so many people, so many friends and family that you've kept in touch with. What does it mean to know that your path to the NFL was paved kind of like Marv Levy was and other coaches through the CFL?
Well, it all started with Bob Wittenhall and Jim giving me the opportunity to meet with Bob, and Bob seen something in me that no other owner had seen in me for the long coaching career that I had. So I'm deeply appreciative and overwhelmed. I think at days like this, it's not how big you are, it's how small you are. You realize how many people had to be doing their jobs for you to be in this position today, and that's what it really does. It's a great opportunity to feel that.
You had some great players, quite obviously, including Anthony Calvillo, who has retired and has left such a great legacy and a long shadow. Do you keep in touch with AC?
We do. We text frequently. We talk on the phone periodically, and he came down and visited our team, spent time with our quarterbacks, and what he had to say really resonated with our quarterbacks in the quarterback room.
2nd down and 10 now for Drew Willie, who will send out 5 receivers here. Far side penalty flag. I do want to ask you about the rule, the penalty interference video rule. What do you think about that? And could you ever see it happening in the National Football League?
It's been discussed. I'm the last person who's going to stand on a podium and give his opinion on what the rules should be. I'm just trying to do my job along the way, but it was an interesting rule, and I thought that the review really came into play in the last Winnipeg series.
87. That penalty will be declined. Play results in 3rd down.
Mark, you've been around this game for such a long time, and you get a job like you have in Chicago. What is it like? I mean, it's just not any other NFL job. It's the coach of the Chicago Bears.
It is, but what we do is we do it just like we did it here. We coach the players the same way. We try to create an environment of respect and humility each and every day, because that grounds us and gets us through the adversity and success that you go through during the course of the season, and you try to help them master their craft. It really hasn't changed.
Mike Renaud. Well, Coach, it's so good to see you. Welcome back home.
Thank you.
We miss you up here. I don't know if you miss this stuff, though. As we go to break, we'll just waiting for the call here. I mean, the Grey Cups and everything else. One of the hazards of the game was also the Gatorade showers that you had to take.
There was never a bad day in Montreal. It went by in a blink of an eye, and it's memories that we'll cherish forever. Just
waiting for the call here, but Before we head to break, saw you signing autographs down there a little earlier as well. I mean, you still have a lot of fans up here, quite obviously, and friends.
Yeah, people here have always treated us like family, and it's great to be with them tonight.
Have you found that you've talked up the CFL now that you're in the National Football League with a lot more people, and they go, hey, because it's being shown a lot more as well in the United States.
Well, it comes natural to talk about it. I'm not going to hide it. It's a great league. I've said that. It's highly competitive. It's a thinking man's game. It's fast. And players who are playing it love football and are no different than the guys south of the border who play it. They love it. They want to master their craft and be the best they can be at it.
There's the guy who has taken over here where Mark Trestman used to be. Mark, again, thanks so much.
Thanks, Rod. Thanks for having me.
Yeah. Good luck this season with the Bears.
Good luck. You got a long haul ahead of you too. So have a great season. 2 byes this year.
Oh yeah, that's right. Take care.
Take care.
We had an illegal punt out of bounds by Winnipeg, number 7. That was a 10-yard penalty. We then had offsetting unnecessary roughness penalties. Montreal, number 16, Winnipeg, number 39. This play ends with Montreal with the ball, first down.
Well, now we know why the confusion. There were a number of penalties. Great to visit with Mark Trestman. I'm going to tell you, if you're a young coach out there, a coach who coaches kids or any type, read his book, study what this guy brings, because he is a coach's coach, a pro. And down goes the football as well. They're saying it's incomplete. Troy Smith was in the act of throwing. And Al Bradbury also throws a flag.
The Winnipeg Blue Bombers give Montreal a taste of their own medicine with that heat.
Ball will be placed at the point of the grounding, second down.
Ejiro Kowali in at middle linebacker. Comes unblocked on the blitz.
So Smith is called for grounding, and Mike O'Shea's thrown another challenge flag. I was about to say it looked like his knee was down, and in fact, if that's the case, that ball was out. That is, and very well could be, a fumble, and Mike O'Shea's been putting that yellow flag to use here tonight.
Left knee definitely down with the ball still in hand.
Referee Al Bradbury was
Winnipeg
right
is
there to
challenging
throw
a
a
previous
flag.
play, dealing with a fumble with an immediate recovery by Winnipeg.
Grounding.
Review.
So another review here in this first half.
From that angle, it's not going to be able to tell whether he had a grip of the ball or not because his hand was behind the football from that angle. Take a look at the reverse. See if we can see the knee. It appears the knee's down and he still has a grip on that football. But anticipate that this will remain Alouette ball.
So again, CFL Command is looking at this, but back to Mark Trestman. A guy who was a bit of a nomad, was a former quarterback's coach, worked with some of the great quarterbacks in the NFL. Comes up here. Probably didn't know what he was getting himself into, but he became such a pro here. Changed the culture in Montreal. And of course he had Anthony Calvillo and he had some great players. But still, that doesn't necessarily mean you're going to win Grey Cups.
No, and I would contend that what Mark Trestman had was an Anthony Calvillo that many people felt was in decline at that point, that he was very close to the end. And you had two greats that came together at the right time in Calvillo and Trestman. Had a great 5-year run together as a result. We see again the left knee clearly down, the ball still in Troy Smith's hand.
look at the Mark Trestman, who has become the National Football League coach of the Chicago Bears. What do you remember most about the Mark Trestman who was here in Montreal?
I remember Mark's first year, our first meeting with him. It was before the season opener in Hamilton. The thing that stood out to me about Mark Trestman, who arrived here with a tremendous resume as a coach. As you said, the teams, the players that he had worked with south of the border, a tremendous resume.
Well, you know, one of the things that he did, and I remember the night we saw it happen, it was the first night, is this. Mark Trestman actually had practices, and I think some of the veterans went, who is this guy? Had practices to line up for the national anthem. And you had to look at the way they all posed with that helmet.
Well, and it was a combination of two things, Rod. It was his appreciation and respect for this league that stood out, and respecting the national anthem in this country was a big part of that. But also his attention to detail.
Huge.
Unparalleled. And to make sure that he looked after the way that his team lined up and held their helmets and where they stood for the national anthem. Just an example of that.
After review, the quarterback was down by contact before releasing the ball. Therefore, it's not intentional grounding. The ball will be at the second down at the marker it is now. Winnipeg does not lose a challenge on this play.
So kind of a so-so successful challenge for Mike O'Shea. They will not get the football back, but there is a loss. Now again, there would have been a penalty for grounding.
You got 12, Al, you got 12.
But it's still a hefty second down play here. Second down and 18. So after all that, it's been a night of flags here. Yellow and orange. Troy Smith quickly back, slings it downfield, and that was off target. Again, looking for Brandon London working against Chris Randall. So again, both defenses have really settled in here now in this second quarter. Both offenses were flicking right out of the chute. Square at 10. Lone returner back is Devon Washington for Sean White. Deliver this one to the right side of the field. Washington fields it, makes one miss and spins away up to the 35-yard line. So the Winnipeg offense back on the field, and the Montreal defense and the ferocious John Bowman already off to a great start. The veteran sack master of the Alouettes prize defense. Coaches in the house tonight with more. Here's John Liu.
Thank you, Rod. Yeah, Mark Trestman regularly keeps in contact with some of the Alouettes leaders that he coached, like John Bowman, Josh Burke, S.J. Green, and Bowman says that Trestman's legacy lives on in the locker room because Bowman in particular has been quoting Trestmanisms 3 times last week, in particular helping the Alouettes preserve their 24-9 win over the BC Lions. 2 of them very relevant. No lead is safe, and the other 57+3, which Trestman coined after discovering how crazy the final 3 minutes of a CFL game can be. Guys?
Absolutely. He found out in a very quick way. A team that regularly used to start so quickly. Clarence Denmark hauls that in. Hurry up offense for the Blue Bombers here. Alouettes are going to bring the house. Penalty flags. Look like there was an alignment issue here. Not sure if they were a yard off or not.
Procedure. Winnipeg, number 68. 5-yard penalty. Remains first down.
Procedure against Winnipeg.
Cordero Howard in on that offensive line with the injury to Chris Graves. Winnipeg has elected to go with 3 Americans on their offensive line to try and bolster that unit.
So it's first and 15. It's 10-10 game. Play action. Willie in trouble. Paris Hebert, the former Blue Bomber.
This is a little bit of what you're trying to avoid when you're Winnipeg and you go to that no-huddle offense. Hebert's going to come clean off that edge. Is you hope that by going to your no-huddle that it's going to limit the Alouettes' opportunity to communicate at the line of scrimmage, make their calls and so on, that it may force them to simplify what they do defensively.
The guy they call the Angry Bird, Paris Hebert. Willie again has to scramble. Looks like a holding call here, but he's going to go as he throws it away looking for Grigsby, but the Bombers are going to have to kick this away because there clearly was a hold. There's also a penalty flag over on the 45-yard line. Almost every play we are seeing a penalty here so far. And a lot of that has to do with the early season rust that a lot of teams are still shaking off. New personnel, new teams. Once again, Al Bradbury.
Offside. Montreal, number 7. Holding, Winnipeg, number 62. The 5-yard difference in penalties remains second down.
Second and an eternity here. 24 yards to go.
Jump from John Bowman initially. Watch the center, Steve Morley, as the play goes on. You get the clutch on Scott Paxson. That holding play.
So tough to contain. Look at the Alouettes. Here they come again. Here comes Bowman, dumping it off to Grigsby. Great play call. They have a long way to go here. Back to the initial line of scrimmage. And Nick Grigsby almost picked up the full 24. Gain of 18 yards, but it's still going to be short.
When you set up, partner, great play call here, given that the pressure just seems to be growing and growing from the Alouettes, and they're gaining momentum as a result. Keep an eye on Grigsby. He's going to show block. Gets hands on Marco Briette, then he slides out, and he's got to accelerate that because of that John Bowman twist up the middle. Did a terrific job setting up his blocks on the run as well.
End over end kick from Renault. Bounce down inside the 10-yard line. Larry Taylor. Not much room there up near the 11-yard line. 41-yard kick, 7-yard return. 10-10 game in Montreal. Back at Molson Stadium in Montreal. 1-1 Alouettes in the early season. The 2-0 Blue Bombers. 10 minutes to go before halftime. Troy Smith throwing a first down, and Brandon London has positive yardage first time tonight. The Alouettes have picked up positive yardage on first down passing.
Quick screen there to Brandon London. This is a guy I'd love to see find his groove again for the Montreal Alouettes. Had a breakout season 2 years ago. In 2012, had over 800 yards in just 12 games. Last season, new offensive scheme. The whole unit seemed to struggle. Revolving door in the quarterback position is limited to just 300 yards.
Just shy. That means London will go to the sideline with Troy Smith. Tanner Marsh will come out for the short yardage situation. Brandon London out of Richmond, Virginia, a guy who has a Grey Cup ring and a Super Bowl ring. He played with the Giants in their Super Bowl victory over the New England Patriots, was on the roster of the Giants that year.
His father, Mike London, the head coach at the University of Virginia.
Second and inches, Tanner Marsh. Last time he took off with the football was just a short yardage end around, and he went for 10. Easy plunge this time. That will bring Troy Smith back out. The Alouettes have looked much better offensively, despite still some of their glitches and the growing pains they are going to have in this life AC after Calvillo. They looked horrible in one of the preseason games. And it's only preseason football. Their first game of the season was very auspicious in Calgary. They got manhandled by the Stampeders and couldn't muster anything offensively, but in the last couple of weeks are showing some spark.
As you said, much improved as you see the numbers now between week 1 and week 2. I truly believe that the difference in the rushing yards, the key to that offensive success. Going to take pressure off Troy Smith as you see the sacks coming down when the defense has to honor the run. The passing yards slightly improved.
Right tackle Jeff Parrott being attended to. One of the pillars of this offensive line. Let's see what happened.
Well, he gets that left foot kind of caught in the pile, left ankle rolled up on. There's Jeff Parrott, right tackle. See that ankle get caught, looked like his own teammate rolling onto that leg. Parrott makes his way to the sidelines. Ryan White out of Bishops comes in to replace him at the tackle spot. Tom Higgins referred yesterday to his 2 big tackles, Josh Burke and Jeff Parrott, as keys to this Alouette offense.
There is Ryan White on the practice roster for the Alouettes the last couple of seasons. 6'4", a shade under 300. From Bishops University, not too far away in Lennoxville.
Very highly recruited player coming out of Vanier College in Montreal.
Vanier has produced a lot of players.
They sure have. Most famously, Tim Biakabatuka.
So Ryan White's the right tackle now. And off. Whitaker scampering. And he is pasted. And a penalty flag. Unnecessary roughness coming likely after that hit on the sideline. Piled on Whitaker. Chris Randall was there and on the tackle. Devon Washington.
Major foul.
Ejiro Kawali.
Winnipeg, number 8, 15-yard penalty, first down.
Almost like a helmet-to-helmet as well there. So 15-yard penalty. And again, penalties. There it is, helmet-to-helmet.
Yeah, it's not an issue of the timing of the hit. It wasn't late as Whitaker was clearly in bounds, but the targeting of the hit.
And zero tolerance for any blow to the helmet or head is here in the Canadian Football League. So another penalty. Penalty-filled affair. Majority to the Alouettes. Smith. Chad Johnson, did he bring it in? They're saying incomplete pass. Chad Johnson already his first CFL touchdown early in the ball game. 3 catches as an Alouette. Guy who multi-time Pro Bowler, 6 times with the Bengals. Social media star. 3.6 million followers in the Twitterverse. Troy Smith now has to dance. There's a penalty flag. He just throws it way out of bounds. Boy, the MO for both D-lines is just to go attack the quarterback tonight.
We've got 2 aggressive coordinators in Noah Thorpe, Gary Echeverry, and the Bombers.
Number 51, penalty decline, third down.
Gary Echeverry back in the Canadian Football League. So much always made about his very unique defensive schemes. Troy Smith said, you know, it looks like they're coming with 13 and 14 players, but you know it's only 12. Time he was swarmed again. Kick time again for White. Washington stops and then goes. And he can go a long way here. Penalty flag again. Well, Devon Washington. Bomber fans know what this guy can do, and he showed his stuff last week against the Red Blacks.
Well, it's the debate that you have when you have a guy who's so important to your defense that you don't necessarily want him tiring himself out and getting hits on returns. They went through this with Javon Johnson. But when you have a guy who can do this in the return game, it's tough to keep him off his special teams. We see DeMond Washington returning both kickoffs and punts here tonight.
He's a CFL Player of the Week this week. This was a hold against Winnipeg on the return, so it's going a long way back in a long field. This is the furthest back that the Blue Bombers have been hemmed here tonight. Get off to a great start in their first two opening drives, put points on the board, but have stalled since. Credit that Montreal D. Here comes the noise again. Willie has three receivers to his left. Grigsby in the backfield. That's who he'll give it to. Grigsby has nowhere to go. Ran right into his O-line and also into Alan Michael Cash.
Bombers went to a double tight end look there to try and flatten things out in the line of scrimmage, create a couple of more gaps that you're forcing the defense to defend. The Alouettes did a nice job with that, fighting off the blocks as Cash did to fill those gaps to prevent Grigsby from getting into the second level.
Comes the rush again. Willie, slant pattern. Denmark, straight arm, far sideline, and fighting and scraping. Close to a first down. They will move the sticks.
Terrific second effort there from Clarence Denmark. Just a quick hitter, nice blitz pickup there from Grigsby coming across the formation.
Denmark has 10 catches on the season now, 3 tonight for 35 yards. A guy who almost had 1,000 yards receiving for the Blue Bombers last year. Their dreadful season. Here's the hitch to Kohler. And that was read perfectly by Gerald Brown. There's Nick Moore on the far sideline. Second down and 12.
Gerald Brown, one of the top defensive backs in the Canadian Football League, matched up on Nick Moore, one of the Bombers' prize off-season acquisitions.
From the BC Lions, of course. Deep drop, Willie has to throw, gets hammered. Oh, big catch downfield. And again, Clarence Denmark. And once again, Drew Willie was under duress as he threw that football.
Paxson again right up the middle, provides the pressure, but Denmark climbs the ladder to go fetch that ball at its highest point.
Arkansas, Monticello, Eagles, Clarence Denmark. 3 100-yard games last year. Could be in store for a century mark here tonight. Again, they bring the sticks out to mark this. And they'll be that far away from first down. It will be 3rd and 1. And the Blue Bombers go for it here. 5:14.
Robert Marv and some big bodies make their way into the game. No surprise to see Mike O'Shea put his faith in his offense here.
Robert Marv, who has already scored a touchdown here in this ball game tonight for the Blue Bombers. Third down and 1. perfection. Arm goes nowhere. Montreal football.
Chip Cox is right at the left side of your screen, number 11. Spots Marv coming and just explodes into the chest of the Blue Bomber quarterback. And his defensive coordinator loves what he sees. Chip Cox, the CFL's reigning most outstanding defensive player. Is there any wonder why?
13 men in the huddle. Montreal. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
So the ball now moves back to the 40, but a turnover on downs forced by the Alouettes. One of the best teams in third down situations against in the Canadian Football League. Last year's most outstanding defensive player in the CFL comes up big. Smith has the middle open, and the ball is loose, and it is picked up and taking off. Down the sideline is Disha Dunn. No flags. Touchdown.
The turnover will be automatically reviewed. But the initial ruling, though, that Troy Smith didn't get that arm going forward to have it ruled an incomplete pass.
Disha Dunn with the touchdown. 70 yards on the fumble recovery. Was the arm going forward? That is what they'll look at. Boy, very close. That angle you can't really tell, but Dunn just takes off.
Yeah, it was Jason Vega who came around the horn. Got a hand on Smith. Very, very close call. We'll see here. He gets it cocked back.
Oh. Well, the Alouettes have thrown a challenge flag, but the play is being reviewed at the command center. All scoring plays are automatically reviewed anyways, and Tom Higgins knows that. He was the director of officiating. So unless the play was automatically deemed a touchdown,
both a scoring play and a turnover, so it would have to be reviewed.
Perhaps Tom is just throwing the flag to make certain. Oh boy.
Montreal is challenging the previous play of a fumble for a touchdown, showing it as an incomplete pass.
The arm's going forward, but the ball looked like it was out.
Yeah. He gets it cocked. You see, he gets it back. But it's just as he tries to get it going forward, it appears that that's when Vega makes contact. And I would expect this ruling on the field to stand as a fumble. Couldn't be any closer than this, though.
Right here. It's a left-handed Vega that actually got that wrist. Saw the ball pop out. So command automatically reviews any turnover this season, but also a scoring play, and this is, in this case, both. It's been a wacky first half in terms of penalties and reviews and challenges. Here is the verdict.
After review, the ruling on the field is confirmed. It is a fumble recovery, touchdown, Winnipeg.
Disha Dunn has the touchdown. Former Fresno State Bulldog, 70-yard return. That's the second fumble recovery for a touchdown by the Blue Bombers in this young season. Mon Washington had one in the first game. Said it was a wacky first half, something you don't see very often. Point after that's actually blocked.
Well, not surprising to see the defense of a Tom Higgins team get through to do it. Remember Tom coaching our special teams, particularly the defensive line in Calgary back in the early 90s, and constantly telling that D-line, this is not a playoff. You keep working because eventually you're going to get one. I'm sure he's telling his Alouettes the same thing, and right here, they did just that. Alan Michael Cash with the big left paw to bat that one down.
Veram Hairelahu, who's been perfect from field goal distances. Crazily, this is a convert, has it blocked. 4 minutes to go in this opening half. Prolonged by penalties and challenges and turnovers. And this has been the biggest of the game so far. Disha Dunn going the distance. Blue Bombers have a 6-point lead. Larry Taylor again as the Alouettes look to answer here.
See Jeff Parrott over on the sidelines. He's working on his sets. Remember we saw him go off a couple minutes ago after getting that ankle rolled on as the right tackle. He's pushing off on that left foot. Now if we go back to that Winnipeg touchdown, you'll see it's Jeff Parrott at right tackle, Jason Vega rushing on him. Parrott having a little bit of trouble with that push off, can't get out to Vega. That's what allows Vega to get around the horn and get to Troy Smith and create that turnover.
Touchdown, Dunn, assist Vega. Troy Smith, deep again, and a penalty flag downfield. S.J. Green was in the area. Looks like an interference call coming here. Both sides are racking up the yardage here. Penalties.
Forward pass interference, Winnipeg, number 7. Ball be placed in spot of foul. First down.
Damon Washington.
Meanwhile, the Montreal Alouettes still trying to find that chemistry between Troy Smith and S.J. Green. Historically one of the top receivers in the CFL in recent years.
Threading the needle is Troy Smith again to Brandon London, who's had an excellent first half. But a very close game from the opening kickoff. Both teams have had their moments.
Brandon London getting an opportunity to get a few more snaps and a few more looks from his quarterback in the absence of Duron Carter. London making the most of the opportunity.
Troy Smith, who Ryan Dinwiddie had said that his playbook, game plan had been simplified last week. Here's the pitch to Whitaker, final play before the 3-minute warning. And it's another first down. 2:37 to go before halftime. Looking to respond to that Blue Bomber turnover for a touchdown.
Keeping Brandon Whitaker involved in the scheme will go a long way towards making that happen.
A 3-minute warning should be issued to the benches here. Haven't got official word yet. But indeed, it looks like the 3-minute warning here at Percival Molson Stadium. Brandon Whitaker today. 2:34 to go before halftime. Back and forth football game here. A lot of penalties. Brandon Whitaker behind a convoy. Up near the 31-yard line. Troy Smith keeping it on the ground here after, again, the last time he went to throw the football, had it taken away for a touchdown. It'll be second and short, so Tanner Marsh time again.
We saw back-to-back sweep-type plays to Brandon Whitaker, working the perimeter of that Winnipeg defense, forcing them to move laterally along that line of scrimmage. Having some success those last couple plays. Whitaker now with 9 carries, 25 yards.
Former Arkansas Tech star Tanner Marshall had a couple starts last week, and he is driven back on 2nd and 1, which they may have even lost a yard. It looks like it's going to be 3rd and 2. The Blue Bombers defense coming up big here.
Oh, Greg Beach, who's been off to a tremendous start. Sack and a couple of forced fumbles. The former Edmonton Eskimo and Hamilton Tiger Cat thus far. Beach lines up at that defensive line spot. Is just going to crash that gap. Looked like a busted assignment in the Montreal blocking scheme. That's not the guy you want to leave unblocked in a short yardage play.
Yeah, that's 2 yards here. 3rd down and 2. So will it be Sean White over the Alouettes with 2:05 to go? Go for this. Already had challenge on a penalty interference call. Overturned a call in the end zone that went for a touchdown. We've had a convert block. We've had a fumble 6. Sean White only 3 of 6 on the season. This one is buried. 39-yarder. 3-point game. You know, the Blue Bombers, for all their struggles last year and really the year before that, ever since they went to the Grey Cup game, as we take a look at the hold here, Dave Stala puts it down nicely. Blue Bombers only 3-15 last year. 2 of the wins they had came here in Montreal. In fact, they have a 3-game winning streak going back to the previous season. So they've actually had some success here in Montreal.
They opened last season, as you'll recall, with back-to-back games against the Alouettes.
And not an easy place to win it. And it particularly wasn't easy when Dressman and Calvillo and the Alouettes were such a powerhouse and so dominant in the East. Never an easy get in Montreal. Add to it the city and the nightlife. Teams have not done notoriously well. Nick Moore with a beautiful cutback. 1st down again. Blue Bombers will bring it to the line quickly again.
I love the awareness by Nick Moore in space as he catches that football to recognize the position of the defenders and realize that Aaron Laverius, middle linebacker, is going to have a little bit of trouble redirecting in space when he makes that cutback.
Drew Willie shouts out the play. Here comes the house. Willie lets it go and caught. Feoli Godino, half the 1st down yardage.
As I said, so happy to see Feoli Godino get an opportunity. This guy, during his time at Laval, was one of the most prolific receivers in Canadian university football. He suffered a serious leg injury in his draft year, but the Toronto Argonauts still took a chance on him. Took him another year, really, to get healthy again. It seems to now really be finding his groove.
Born in Costa Rica. And a slant pattern there and a great toss. Aaron Kelly makes his first catch. There was some concern for Kelly this week in practice. He nicked up his knee. They thought that he might not be able to play tonight. That's his first reception. He's already had 8 previous, so 9 now on the season. Aaron Kelly, the former Hamilton Tiger Cat. His old coach, Marcel Belfay, is the offensive coordinator for the Blue Bombers. Another toss, another strike, and Rory Colhart has running room. And Kyrus Hebert finally brings him down, and very close to getting in his grill there. Colhart wanted a face mask call, is not getting it.
A well-executed play there by the Bombers. Kelly and Colhart working in tandem out to that wide side of the field. Kelly essentially clearing out to create over a third of the field of space for Colin to work to get open.
21-yard gain. Again to that right side, and again Nick Moore slipped a little bit on that field turf down there. 5-yard pickup. Clock ticking down to 24.
Yeah, and that one I would have liked to have seen Nick Moore just head straight for the sidelines after making the catch. Because he was going to be hard-pressed to get to the end zone. That clock ticks down under 24 seconds.
Blue Bombers trying to put another score on the board here before halftime. 6 receivers set. Over the middle, and an errant toss that time, misfiring. So it will be 3rd and 5. Drew Willie will go to the sideline, and the Blue Bombers will bring out their field goal unit to try to restore a 6-point advantage.
Nice job from Drew Willie in the offense to move that ball down the field into scoring position. See a little smile from Mike O'Shea.
Hiralahu. Perfect on the season. Had a convert blocked earlier. Tough snap there. They were able to get the hold down, but there is a penalty flag. Eight seconds left in the second quarter. Hiralahu going to the sideline.
During the play, major foul, unnecessary roughness, Montreal, number 91.
Oh, boy.
Half the distance to the goal, it becomes first down.
What a costly penalty. At the very worst, the Alouettes give up a field goal and are down 6. And now this will keep this drive going. There's only 8 seconds, maybe time for 2 plays. But really time for 1. Look at this.
Right on the interior, Alan Michael Cash. He's lined up over the snapper on the play. Takes a run. Tough to tell in the crowd, but likely that helmet-to-helmet run at the snapper who's still got his head ducked. That's Ian Wild, and thus the rough and call.
11 penalties, 119 yards. And we're not even at halftime yet against the Alouettes. The Bombers with another shot here. They reset the clock to 9 seconds. Maybe a chance for 2 strikes. Going end zone. Penalty flag down. Jump ball. Incomplete pass. Aaron Kelly and Billy Parker there. But again, a penalty flag at the 10-yard line.
Billy Parker locked right on to Aaron Kelly.
Offside, Winnipeg, number 19. 5-yard penalty, remains first down.
Aaron Kelly had a head start. A couple of yards for sure. Great call.
Anticipation, knowing he's the primary receiver on that play.
All right, barring penalty, final play. And so Hiralahu again. From the 24. Here's the kick. It's up, and again, it's good. So Lirim Hiralahu may have had a convert blocked earlier, but he's perfect on the young season. 6 for 6, 2 for 2 tonight. And the Blue Bombers, after a very long and interesting first half, lead at 19-13. Let's go back to the studio. Here's Jock Clamby and the coach, Paul LaPolice.
Well, in a penalty-plagued first half, 22 penalties all told between both teams. Thought it was appropriate that we use GMC's coach's playbook to talk about penalties. Well, in particular, their review. And we saw a interesting play there in the first quarter. Down 7-3, the Bombers throw the ball into the end zone. There's a challenge flag on the PI. Second time, it's actually resulted in a touchdown. I'm wondering about the communication process. How does a head coach make that decision to throw the flag?
Yeah, Jack, there's a lot of communication goes on, especially in Montreal, because both teams are on one sideline, so the head coach doesn't have a great angle. And what you're going to see, I've been an assistant coach and I've been a head coach, so I've been able to call the challenges from upstairs
and downstairs. Here's what has to happen. The process that plays out is this. You're going to see that coach upstairs, he sees the live angle. He sees the ball thrown. The coach upstairs can't tell too much. But what happens is in the CFL, every spotter's box has a TV. So we watch the feed going on upstairs. Coach sees that angle upstairs. Not a big deal. Then the coach sees this angle. He goes, hold on. He's yelling down to Mike. Hey, Mike, challenge. Go ahead. And that's what's going to happen is he's going to communicate. He's going to see all the angles, and then he's going to tell the coach downstairs, hey, let's challenge that.
Yeah, that's been a huge addition to the job description for assistant coaches. Now, how often does a head coach maybe say, whoa, how sure are you? I'm not about to burn a timeout because you think you saw something.
Yeah, certainly I think the hardest part is making sure your coaches are on the same page with what the rules are, what the repercussions, what can be challenged. And, like here's an example. 3rd and 1, okay, you can challenge, the spot of the ball. In 5 years of that, it's only happened once. Yeah. So you don't want to challenge that every time. You want to make sure you do the right decisions with your challenges.
A lot of judgment involved for sure. Yeah. And we're going to have some judgments coming up by the panel on this very same play. Lots of opinions coming up after the break. We've had a good game so far. 19-13 Winnipeg. They are looking for their 5th straight win in Montreal. Back after this.
We're calling pass interference, Montreal, number 12. That foul occurred in goal. The ball will be placed on the 1-yard line. First down, Winnipeg.
This offseason, the CFL introduced a rule change in that you could now, for the first time in pro football, you could challenge pass interference during a football game. And there was lots of debate about it. We talked about it in the preseason show that we had, but we have now seen it come into play a couple of times this year. It just got the Winnipeg Blue Bombers a touchdown. I'm wondering, first of all, guys, did you agree with the call? If you were in command center and you had that sent to you, would you have indeed thrown the flag from the command center?
Oh, yes, I definitely thought it was pass interference. You can clutch for only so long, and you can see right there he was just holding on too long, and it was definitely pass interference.
Yeah, I think it was. And this is why Glenn Johnson was adamant about getting this pass, and it was voted on that this is going to be the case. And whether it's a call or a non-call, you can challenge it. And O'Shea's been bang on, I think, and good on him because 7 points back on the board.
Here's my dilemma. This game was kicked off at 7:08 Eastern Time. It went until 8:41 Eastern Time. 1 hour and 41 minutes to play a half of football. To be brutally honest with you, outside of the first 2 series and the last port, it was pretty doggone boring. Yes. I mean, the pace of the game gets so slowed down. But what are you going to do? You're always going to have penalties. You're always going to have challenges. You're always going to have timeouts. You're always going to have commercials. And you're always going to have injuries. But for a segment of time in the middle part of that game, it was lull after lull after lull.
Schultz, 3 challenges, took 10 minutes.
I know.
10 minutes.
But see, my dilemma is I don't necessarily have an answer. I mean, because we analyze this.
You say dilemma.
It's a work in progress.
It is a dilemma.
But if we didn't have instant review, Winnipeg would be down 7 points right now. So are you saying that you would rather not have it? That's the key here.
Oh, not on pass interference.
Yeah.
I mean, this is not a perfect game. Football is not a perfect game. You're dealing with humans. Players make mistakes. Refs make mistakes. You can't have one human say it's pass interference and have another human decide if it's pass interference or not. I definitely disagree with that. And I'm a receiver saying that.
That is shocking.
It's very shocking. But that right there, I hate that.
So you don't like the rule change. Matty, do you like it?
Oh, absolutely. Get it right. I think you got to get it right because it is too big of a play. Say that wasn't on the 10-yard line and that was on the center field line. That was a 55-yard gain down to the 1, and you make the call. It's a big play. Oftentimes the most difficult play. It happens fast. You slow it down in slow motion. Pretty clear that it was holding. And to me, you've got to get it right, and that's why the rules
say it's right? You know.
Well, we all said it's right.
No, that's one person up there who's saying it's right.
Well,
the command center.
There's 4 of us.
I'm talking about that play, but there's other plays where some people may say, no, that's not pass interference.
We're going to put your butt up in the command center, and we're going to make you accountable. Yes, we're going to make you accountable for that, and I think we'll solve all the problems.
And that's too much pressure on one person, one man,
Jake
one
Ireland
human.
has got it, and I believe there's Al McColeman up there, maybe up there as well.
Well, one thing we know, Schultze wants pace. Let's hope we get a little more pace in the second half. Unless this panel.
Schultze was falling asleep.
23 penalties. That ain't on the referees. That ain't on the officials. That's on the players.
Get us out of here.
Well, we haven't got a lot of pace going on with the panel tonight. It's just slugfest in here. Mark Trestman has graced the CFL, and I say that with all utmost respect, this man is a mess.
Well, Jock, both of these teams are playing very undisciplined football. 113 in penalty yards for Winnipeg and 119 for Montreal. One of these teams have to come out in the second half and decide we have to play penalty-free football, and I think that's the team that's going to win.
Believe it or not, they are on pace for a CFL record penalty yards in a game. Jason Vega just spoke with our John Luke.
Jason, considering how many penalties have been called on both sides, who suffers more, offense or defense?
I think we all suffer equally, right? I mean, we're losing yards on defense, or we're giving up yards on offense. So anytime field position comes into play, we're both losing.
Both defenses are playing extremely aggressively. Does this game have the feel that it could be decided on a play like the forced fumble that you caused leading to a touchdown?
Yeah, I mean, it'll definitely come down to plays like that. We always would like to think that the play comes down to us and the game comes down to us. So we want to make those big plays that, make it count in the end.
Penalties your team took in the first half. How do you address that?
Well, we addressed it by just saying let's not beat ourselves. We know the rules, play by the rules, and it was unfortunate, but some were good calls and some were but you know what? That doesn't determine the outcome of the game. We did a couple of things really well in the first half, but we got to execute a little bit better. We get the ball, let's see what happens. It's anybody's game.
Thanks for this, Tom.
Oh, you're welcome. My pleasure.
Again, last year, Tom Higgins was the guy in charge of all the officials who have been busy here tonight. And there have been a lot of penalties, and as Tom Higgins said, you got to play by the rules. It's been a very lengthy game, and as the boys in the studio talked about, in line possibly for a CFL record, combined penalties in a game would be 46. And about just over 20 here so far. The bulk to the Alouettes.
Here was Mike O'Shea at the end of the first half, chatting with referee Al Bradbury. See a little bit of frustration on his face as well.
Well, both sides have played undisciplined football here tonight. We've seen a number of roughing calls, interference calls. There's Kyle Walters, who's the general manager now for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers. Troy Smith comes out firing. It's S.J. Green, who's been rather silent so far here on this one tonight. The Alouettes down 6.
Big first half for Brandon London, 4 catches, 77 yards. One of those highlight reel number. Troy Smith right at his season pace, 50% completion rate, 131 yards and a touchdown pass to number 85, Chad Johnson.
First downs have been an issue for the Alouettes. They haven't been able to get more than 6 yards. Troy Smith, almost a basketball fake there as he finds Stephen Lomalo, the former Calgary Dino, back in his hometown now with the Montreal Alouettes. Drafted 5th overall last year. Lomalo getting a touch here early on.
The role of the fullback has become such a blocking role in the Canadian Football League, but Lambala making the conversion from being a feature back at University of Calgary, a very skilled guy at that position. They don't mind putting the rock in his hands.
Go to the ground again. Crashing his way to the midfield stripe. The Baylor Bear, Brandon Whitaker.
That's a great hard run from Brandon Whitaker. Low center of gravity, legs driving, moving the pile, just shedding arm tackles along the way.
And a guy who missed the bulk of last season, the hamstring pull, year before that, knee injury. So really a bounce back year here for Brandon Whitaker. Getting some props from Stephen Lambala. Tanner Marchand, second and short yardage. Easily done.
Great push up the middle. Line center, Luc Brodeur-Jourdain. Guards, Ryan Bombin, Christian Matt. Alouettes had to replace both starting guards midway through last year. Scott Flory with a shoulder/pectoral injury.
See Jeff Parrott there still limping, the effects of that injury in the first half. Right tackle, there's the hit screen. There's the guy they call two-way. Only for his number that he wears, but the fact that he's like a scat back at times, can take off with the football on the ground and in the air.
Brandon Whitaker, supreme dual threat. You think back to that great season he had in 2011. You could have certainly made an argument putting him among the top 5 players in the entire Canadian Football League that season.
Second down and 7, Montreal. From the Winnipeg 49. 5 receivers set. Whitaker stays in, and Smith goes over the top. And off to the races, Kenny Stafford! Touchdown! His first CFL score. In stride, Kenny Stafford takes it to the house.
Troy Smith has got his groove going tonight. Right on the money to Kenny Stafford, who's got a step on Teague Sherman. Then just accelerates, diving for that pylon.
So the point after for Sean White. And the difference in this ball game is actually a blocked convert earlier on. Those points add up for Kenny Stafford. First CFL touchdown. Puts the Owls in front. Kenny Stafford, 3 games played with Calgary last year. Big training camp last year for the Alouettes. Got cut, came back, comes back this year, and is a big part now with this Montreal offense.
They're getting a great opportunity lining up in that slot. Provides another big target. The release of Jamel Richardson. He's in there in tandem with S.J. Green. Big receiving core. When you look at Brandon London as well. Of course, 6'5" Deron Carter once he's healthy.
Paris Cotton cuts back and is met head on and brought down. Blue Bombers bring their offense on the field now down a single point.
What you're going to see on this play is you've got 2 receivers, 2 defenders. They have a little bit of trouble on the switch. For a split second, it looks like Sherman on the inside gets caught, just hesitating just for a second as he has to switch and take the outside player. But then the other problem, he has to bubble around the receiver, around the official. Stafford does a nice job using that official, who's considered part of the playing field, as something of a rub or a pick. Forces Sherman to redirect around that, and that adds to his separation on the route.
Well, another penalty, unnecessary roughness on that return by Paris Cotton. Good field position again for Drew Willie, native of Randolph, New Jersey. Has become the starter for the Winnipeg Blue Bombers, a team that has had a carousel of quarterbacks through the last couple of seasons. Right now, the former star from University of Buffalo, 15 of 20 in that first half.
Well, that's the impressive number on the board when you consider all the pressure that Drew Willie has faced. That's designed to prevent the quarterback from being accurate because he's always in a hurry throwing the football. Yeah, there's Drew Willie completing 75% of his throws.
Second down and 7. Twin tight ends, and Willie's in trouble. Sacked. Alan Michael Cash again gets to the Blue Bomber quarterback.
This time the pressure takes away what would have been a sure completion for Drew Willie as he was forced to redirect his eyes. He's got Aaron Kelly who's going to work across the formation. He gets a step on the man covering him. He's out in front of the defender. But before Willie has a chance to go that way, he's got Alan Michael Cash showing up in his face on the front side, who's got to turn away from that open throw.
Alouettes, who were second in the CFL last year in the sack department. 3 sacks tonight. Renault Struggle with the snap, but gets it away. The ball bounces backwards now. Larry Taylor waits to induce no yards. Does not. Good coverage on the special teams from the Blue Bombers on a 45-yard boot. Allen Michael Cash, North Carolina State, brings down Drew Willie. Here's our sack tally brought to you by Purelator. Tackling hunger across Canada. Check off the Montreal Alouettes with 3 more tonight.
Yeah, go along with John Bowman's 4 from a week ago. Focus your eyes on the bottom of that screen. Next Purelator food drive next weekend, July 19th in Vancouver.
There's Whitaker spinning and eventually dropped after a pickup of about half the first down yardage. Jake Thomas was able to run him down. Alouettes have really settled down offensively with a good mishmash of play calling. They were really going to the air early on, but now they've established a ground game and they've opened up their passing game.
When you look back at the game 1 struggles, and part of the issue was the fact that the Montreal Alouettes got behind and felt forced to throw the ball a lot.
Troy Smith dances and is just shoved to the ground by Bryant Turner. 7 sacks a year ago for Bryant Turner. Number 1 of 2014.
And Turner, 4th-year man out of University of Alabama, Birmingham, for the top interior pass rushers in the Canadian Football League.
Blue Bombers with 2 sacks tonight. Owls with 3. Intense game here. Ramon Washington. A little cutback and dropped. Beautifully downfield. Blue Bombers relying on the great Grigsby so far this season. Hasn't found the end zone yet. One of the newest Blue Bombers behind Clarence Denmark there is Nick Grigsby, a guy in the backfield who is also used to playing center field. Here's John.
Thank you, Rod. And the Grigsby's speed is one of his obvious qualities, but 2 of the qualities that he cites as his greatest strengths are his vision and his explosiveness. Those are 2 qualities that are crossover skills, in his opinion, from being a high-caliber center fielder. In fact, he was a Minnesota Twins prospect. And he says that those qualities that allow him to get quickly and anticipate balls in the outfield are the same sort of things that he applies when trying to find holes in a defensive line and break through those holes for big games. And so definitely his baseball background is something that we're seeing in his football career here in the CFL.
Drew Willie stretches it out, and so does Nick Moore. An absolutely spectacular catch.
In a word, wow.
Watch the throw, but watch this swan dive catch from Moore.
Completely extended, but never losing focus on that football. Phenomenal effort from Nick Moore.
49-yard hookup. Drew Willie takes command again. Bombers down 1. There's Grigsby. What a story Nick Grigsby is, a guy who went undrafted, native of Los Angeles, California. You talk about the baseball background, Dwayne. He was a guy who went to a couple of NFL camps, didn't work out, decided to go back to college. He went to Arizona, as you see the numbers out of the gate. And then, after the NFL camps, went to the University of Arizona Christian School, where he played for their baseball team. And then ended up, as John Liu mentioned, with the Minnesota Twins in their rookie squad. Back to football he comes, and the Bombers couldn't be happier.
Completion there is Jeff Tisdale. Wins this battle with Clarence Denmark. One-on-one out on the short side of the field. Tisdale does a good job getting hands-on, as you heard the boys debating the first half pass interference call in the end zone. Doesn't hold on for too long that time.
Liram Hajrullahu, 2 for 2, 27-yard kick. And again, a perfect start. 7 for 7 in 2014, the newest Bomber kicker. How about that catch? You'll see it on SportsCenter. Yes, LeBron James just have a little different color to him this time around. It won't be Miami Heat colors, but Cleveland Cavaliers. There's Nick Grigsby. We talked about his baseball background and how he was found. Well, on his BlackBerry in the crowd is Danny McManus, assistant GM, director of U.S. Scouting, in the crowd tonight. He's responsible for finding a lot of these players, and Grigsby was one of those guys.
Danny Mac, conjunction, general manager, Kyle Walters, Canadian scouting director and assistant GM, Ted Gavea, done a nice job rebuilding this Winnipeg Blue Bomber team.
Danny Mac, of course, a member of Canada's Football Hall of Fame. One of the great quarterbacks. Quick release. Another penalty flag. Speaking of Hall of Fame, it's going to be a very special year this year in Montreal. First time ever they get to host the Hall of Fame weekend in September. And I know you got some old buddies who are going into the Hall, and Ben Cahoon in Montreal goes in. Uzuma Okeke also going into the Hall of Fame. Mo Racine, Winnipeg Blue Bomber Charles Roberts going in. There's Danny with his wife Kathy watching in the stands tonight. Your old coach Wally Buono goes in as a builder, and another old coach of yours going in.
Yeah, very pleased to see Larry Haler, my former coach at Western, as part of this Hall of Fame class.
Neil Lumsden also going in as amateur player, was a terrific pro, but for what he did as a college player. Hall of Fame weekend, September 20 and 21 in Montreal, and the Hall of Fame game is the Alouettes against Calgary on the 21st. Special weekend.
Number 7, holding, Montreal, 21. We'll re-kick, 5 yards up.
You see one of the Bombers' top special teamers, Dan West, out of Bishop's University. Getting into the mix. He's played on this field once or twice himself. Part of that Quebec conference.
We had a chance to spend some time with Danny Mac last night. Very interesting to note. And he's one of the really was a superstar in this game, but did throw the football a little bit. And, you know, he says that Drew Willie's path right now, very similar to the path that he had, where he was a backup. He was a tutor for quite some time. He was tutored by other players and mentored, and then found his game.
And I'm a believer that it's the ideal path for quarterbacks in the Canadian Football League. It takes a little bit of time to learn the game and find their way.
Larry Taylor trying to break one. He's hustled out of bounds. 5:42 to go in the third. A couple of great special teams players, West and Daryl Townsend. There's Eric Delorier.
Eric Delorier, veteran receiver for the Alouettes. Getting after West a little bit. Do a good job on teams, you start earning a little bit of special attention.
Such a huge part of the game, and of course Mike O'Shea was the team's leader the last couple of seasons in Toronto with the Argonauts under Scott Milanovich. Kenny Stafford on that end around. Got some room here. Stafford angles forward, very close to a first down. What a night for Kenny Stafford.
It looked like Troy Smith had a little bit of trouble with that handoff, that maybe Stafford was in a little bit tight to the mesh point. Ran into him a little bit. See him come away shaking that hand a bit.
Jammed it. He's going right to the locker room. So there's a development. John Lou will be all over that on the sideline. Rather innocuous play, and Troy Smith is headed to the locker room. 2nd and 1. Tanner Marsh. short yardage guy is now the feature quarterback. Another penalty flag.
Procedure.
Look back.
Montreal, number 59. 5-yard penalty. Remains second down.
Just looked like Smith might have had that left hand caught in there. Kenny Stafford closed his arms around the football to take that handoff. So now it is Tanner Marsh at the helm.
And not uncharted territory for Tanner Marsh. Has been there before last year again. Anthony Calvillo went out with injury. Marsh was one of 3 quarterbacks who saw action. And it's picked off, or almost picked off. Chris Randall thought he had it in the gloves. And Marsh forces up an incomplete pass, and the Alouettes will kick.
Trying to hit that quick slant to Brandon London. Chris Randall on the outside makes a nice break on that football. Fighting his way to get his hands on it.
Well, Troy Smith is back. And favoring that left thumb, it looks like, may have jammed it. So likely we're going to see more of Troy Smith. Trying to get an update for you. Big boot. Damon Washington fumbled the football. The Alouettes have it. Dominique Ellis is right there, and he has been a special teams demon tonight.
Ellis' first game on the roster. Opportunity created by the injury to Chris Smith. He's been one of the first guys downfield all night. And here he's rewarded for that hustle. Damon Washington, as he had to back up for that football, he stumbled a little bit. Watch his feet as he starts backpedaling. There's that little stumble that just threw him off, has trouble handling the ball. Call it a hometown bounce here, right into the arms of the Alouettes. Dominique Ellis.
South Carolina State, Dominique Ellis. What a debut. Smith back in. Has to dodge one, and he's going down. Ian Wild. Bombers come 4 on the blitz, and Wild with a huge sack.
Smith hung on the left side of that line like he was just waiting for something to come open. But it took too long. You see Ian Wild hangs back initially, then comes on that delayed blitz.
Second and long, 21. Here they come again. Little shuttle pass. Brandon Whitaker will be brought down on second down. Doesn't get to the original line of scrimmage, and that will bring the kick team out. The chance again for the Alouettes here to take the lead. Sean White's going to try one from about the 37-yard line. White's had some early season struggles, but good tonight. 2 for 2 is made from the 24 and 39. For tonight, it was just 50%, 3 of 6. Perfect night for Sean White. White night strikes. Owls ahead by 1. Isn't it crazy how that blocked convert is kind of hovering over this whole thing?
That's that play that you take for granted. But you never know. Defensive unit at one time when the kick's going to come a little bit low. If you can keep getting that pressure, keep getting a little bit of a push at the line of scrimmage, and defensively never take that play off.
And there's still tons of time left, but that play works so much into it. For the viewers in the United States, what we call the rouge or the single could play into this later in the game as Peter King and the Monday morning quarterback fell in love with the rouge as they came up to cover Canadian football in the last few weeks.
Single point awarded if a team isn't able to bring a missed field goal out of their end zone. Could even lead to a kick-out situation.
It could. We'll see. There's Paris caught. Gathers it at the 20. Legs churning. Penalty flag down again and caught and tripped up. Otherwise, that might have gone the distance. Did he turn that up? Third gear to fourth very quickly.
It's something of a revelation. The kickoff returns.
Looks like a hold, though. That's negated.
During the return, holding, Winnipeg, number 41, 10-yard penalty, first down.
That's Derek Jones, fourth round pick of the Blue Bombers this year, and comes by his talent quite naturally.
His dad, Ed Jones, former Edmonton Eskimo, part of the Eskimos' Grey Cup dynasty years. DB Derek grew up in Edmonton. For the last 4 years at Simon Fraser University.
Drew Willie trying to bring his team back. Confusion in the backfield. Grigsby went one way. Drew Willie went the other. That young battery back there, Willie and Grigsby, haven't had too many games together. And there was some confusion.
Just been a misheard play call. Willie called 45. Grigsby thought he heard 44. Good reaction and recovery from both to avoid letting that turn into a loss.
Second down and 10 now from the Bomber 22. Clarence Denmark up on the line. Willie looks towards him, but he's going nowhere. Alan Michael Cash cleans up again. Second sack of the night. Fourth for the Alouettes.
Alan Michael Cash in his third year out of North Carolina State burst onto the scene with a terrific rookie season. Just beats the right guard Patrick Neufeld to the inside and straight through. The quarterback Drew Willie.
The Alouettes could get great field position here. Renaud. Oh, this is a good kick. And back to the 50-yard line. Larry Taylor behind some blocks. Zigs and zags, but only picks up a couple. Chris Randall makes the tackle on a 50-yard boot. Big kick out of the end zone by Mike Renaud.
Kicking his team out of trouble there. A couple of flags down behind the play.
Should have had those flags sponsored tonight. So many penalties, and the guys in the studio talked about the possibility of it close to being a CFL record.
We'll keep an eye on Winston Venable here. The helmet's gone, but still going to play ball.
Speaking of ball,
major
talked
foul,
about baseball
unnecessary
earlier.
roughness, Winnipeg, number 33. Illegal participation, Montreal, number 31. Fouls will be balanced at the point of ball game. First down.
Winston Venable, also from a baseball family. Max, his dad, actually played for the Montreal Expos back in 1984. His brother Will is a major league ball player. Very athletic family, but again, more penalties here tonight. Record for most penalty yards in a single game for both teams, 445. Hamilton and Winnipeg 22 years ago. The first half tonight they had almost 235 yards. So they were on pace. Whitaker slashing. Penalty flag.
Surprise.
10 seconds remain in the third quarter, and we are in for a nail biter in the fourth.
Holding, Montreal, number 59. 10-yard penalty, remains first down.
A lot to be cleaned up for both these teams once they get back into the film room tomorrow.
You've played in these games too that are penalty filled, and there's the reaction. Hard to maintain any rhythm, especially offensively. Deep drop, Smith over the top, Lamar. And gang tackled near the 50-yard line. He didn't get to the original line of scrimmage, so it'll be second and long. That was the final play of the third quarter. Just 1 point separating the Alouettes and Blue Bombers. Winnipeg undefeated to start the season, but maybe not after tonight. 15 minutes to play here at Molson Stadium in Montreal. Wendy's numbers, and it's still only a 1-point game. Very even between the two teams tonight, obviously on the scoreboard and in the numbers. And the big numbers we've been talking about all night, those penalties, the undisciplined kind, and the yardage continues to pile up. And you cannot make those kind of mistakes in this fourth quarter, or you're going to lose this ball game.
No, you're in a very close football game here, and it's been sloppy. These have been a number of self-inflicted wounds on the part of both football teams. You'd hate to see a penalty by either team end up deciding the outcome of this football game.
On the other side, too, though, it's been a game of big plays. There have been big plays within it. We saw the Chad Johnson play earlier. We've had a couple of long bombs in this game, turnovers, a fumbled football that went back for a major score, and through it all, we've also had a litany of penalty calls. Smith over the middle, what a catch! S.J. Green, who makes it look routine. He may have a little banged up here.
Took a pretty good pop, but a great adjustment to the ball by S.J. Green. This one's a little bit behind him. See him coming across right to left on your screen to get that reach back. But just as he's exposed, reaching back to catch that ball, Johnny Sears lowers the boom.
So S.J. Green will have to go off for the series here. And a boom it was. S.J. Green, of course, the last few seasons, one of the super slots in Montreal, Jamel Richardson, was released by this football team. No longer here, and openings created. Certainly a new era in Montreal with no Calvillo, Jamel Richardson gone, and Troy Smith's show now. This guy, Brandon Whitaker, shimmies and shakes to the 26-yard line. Close to a first down.
No matter who's under center in Montreal, number 2 remains one of their most important weapons, Brandon Whitaker. Dual threat, great ball carrier, great receiver out of that backfield. They can keep feeding him the rock and get that running game going. Try and slow down that Winnipeg defense. It's only going to help Troy Smith.
Short yardage. Tanner Marsh again. Ball's loose. Whistle blew. You can hear the Blue Bombers screaming, go after the ball, go after the ball, as Marsh actually had it held up pretty high. They tried to strip him of the ball. Depends on the spot here. And they will move the sticks. It indeed is a first down.
This Montreal short yardage team has been pretty impressive. So a nice crease created there for Tanner Marsh to get that first down yardage.
Troy Smith has to hurry here to get this play off. He ran from the sideline. 9 seconds on the play clock here. Down to 5 seconds. There they go. There goes the ball to the end zone. One-on-one! And Randall and London engage in a battle in the end zone. Incomplete pass.
Well, you like the height of Brandon London in that matchup, but it looked to me like the better option in that combination route might have been the out to Dave Stala. because he's got a defender chasing from the inside. He's in behind his man, whereas there's help on that deep route to Brandon London. Well defended by Chris Randall.
Chance for another shot here. Alouettes have to get to the 15 for a first down. Catch made. Stafford again. Dropped from behind by Nisha Dunn, but after he had achieved the first down, it's going to be first and goal here for the Alouettes. They found a good one here at Kenny Stafford.
This Alouettes brass will tell you that his training camp was just too good to keep him off the roster this time around. You see Chad Johnson clears things out for him by taking that good outside release to get the corners back turned to the play, opening that space in the flat for Kenny Stafford.
4 catches and a touchdown. Brandon Whitaker stood up at the 5-yard line.
The Alouettes will go back to that 5-receiver set. Eric Delorier in for Stephen Limbala.
Before tonight, the Alouettes had not recorded a touchdown pass. That obviously changed with the TDs to Stafford and Chad Johnson. Now they look to score again. Smith, a bullet, touchdown, S.J. Green.
They looked for Green a couple of times in this territory in the first half of this ball game, but he and Smith were unable to hook up. This time it's classic S.J. Green, 220-pound, 6'3" receiver against a smaller DB. Shields Damon Washington from the football, a nicely placed throw from Troy Smith, getting it to the outside where Green had position on his defender.
13 majors last year, a CFL All-Star. Solomon Jr. Green. S.J. Green, that's number 1. He's keeping the football of 2014. All the talk about Troy Smith's struggles with accuracy, not being able to score the ball in the air. It's forgotten right now. Alouettes have turned it on. Former Heisman Trophy winner has found his targets. The Alouettes have an 8-point advantage on Wendy's Friday Night Football. With Anthony Calvillo, S.J. Green on the receiving end of a touchdown score, his first of the new season from Troy Smith. First he was banged up.
Yeah, but recovered well after making that big catch in traffic. Makes it back onto the field for the touchdown catch. Little hook up between quarterback and receiver there. Maybe a sign that these two are starting to get a bit of a feel for each other.
Still looks like he's hurting on that sideline, but the Alouettes liking this now. 30-22. Game has gone back and forth. And Paris Cotton back and forth. Boy, took a bit of a headshot, it looked like there. Up near the 40-yard line, dangerous tackle. S.J. Green, 3 straight 1,000-yard seasons, and a lot of those catches of the highlight reel variety.
No doubt, 31 touchdowns in that span as well. No question, he is one of the Canadian Football League's elite performers.
So now the Blue Bombers have to play catch-up again, something they've been able to do with success. Came back against Ottawa. Hit screen, Nick Moore. Moore slants in up near the 45-46-yard line. The Bombers with season-opening win at Investors against the Argos. Walloped them. And last week, win against the Ottawa Red Blacks. Had to fight back for that one. Mike O'Shea to give the Bombers a 3-0 record for the first time since 2003. Only twice since 1965 have the Blue Bombers started the season 3-0. They're going to have to play comeback to get there. Willie. Moore almost had it stripped by Gerald Brown. There's a dangerous pass. And it'll be 3rd and 7.
Especially in Gerald Brown's territory. Brown tied for 3rd in the Canadian Football League last season with 5 interceptions. Widely respected by his opponents and teammates as one of the best in the business.
Renault, very close to having it blocked. Dominique Ellison on the play again. Here goes Larry Taylor. And West bringing him down. 8-point lead for the Alouettes. 9.5 to go at Percival Molson Stadium.
Immediately following Game 1 of Wendy's Friday Night Football on TSN, we are going out to Commonwealth Stadium where the 0-1 Ottawa Redblacks are facing the surprise 2-0 Edmonton Eskimos. Coming up after Game 1.
Handoff to Brandon Whitaker. 1st and 10. Alouettes leading 30-22. Troy Smith looking good here tonight. His best start as an Alouette quarterback, something that Tom Higgins thinks he'll see more of.
I don't know that people truly understand that anytime you are the guy in whatever league it is, there's a great deal of pressure. And I truly believe that that's one thing that he can handle extremely well. And one thing that he does extremely well is, people are willing to follow him. And so obviously that's a sign of a very, very good leader.
Already better numbers than over the first 2 games, but not this time. Chris Randall, he's going to the house and he'll score. Pick 6, Winnipeg. Just when Tom Higgins was lauding his quarterback, a huge mistake from the Alouettes. And the Blue Bombers turnover, touchdown. Already a fumble return for a touchdown, and now an interception return for the former Stampeder, now Blue Bomber, Chris Randall.
Chris Randall anticipated that route, jumping in front of S.J. Green, trying to come underneath. Now the Winnipeg Blue Bombers send their offense on the field to go for 2. Looking to tie this ball game.
30-28, loads of time left. Now you don't necessarily have to go for 2 here.
Well, there's still a lot of time left in this ball game, but I know Mike O'Shea went through this last week. But I like the decision to go after it here on the road.
Well, it shows a lot of confidence, too, in this offense. The worst case, you're down 2. Best case, you could be tied up, but you're not. But really a gift for Chris Randall and the Blue Bombers. The pick 6. We've had it all here tonight, have we not?
Huge defensive play there from Randall, and it's just as you're thinking about this Montreal Alouette team, and the big thing about this squad, keep an eye here on Brandon London. London's kind of he's trying to fight through Chris Randall. If he goes through the inside shoulder of Chris Randall to free up S.J. Green coming underneath, rather than letting Randall fight to get to the inside, that pass doesn't get picked off. But because Randall won that battle with London for inside position, it gets intercepted. But the thing about the Montreal Alouettes, they're a defense that generates a lot of takeaways. The key for them offensively is to prevent the giveaways, avoid turnovers. And that was their big downfall last year. They were a team that led the league in takeaways, but they were also near league worst in terms of the giveaways, and it cost them.
Mike O'Shea in a conversation, rather animated one on the sideline with the timing officials. That is the Blue Bombers' first interception of 2014. It goes for a touchdown. They have won the turnover battle here tonight. Points off turnovers, 12-3 Winnipeg. And as you mentioned, that giveaway takeaway, and it's such a precursor and a common denominator for winning records. Just look at it. The teams that win don't give the ball away more than they take it away.
Yeah.
And the Blue Bombers so far, this has been night and day from what we saw last season. Still early in the season, though. Bombers still down 2, failed 2-point convert. Ball that bounces in to the end zone. So now,
well, and here's the interesting twist.
Yes,
had they kicked the single,
now they're tied. So the Rouge, the point for Winnipeg. And again, you take it for granted sometimes, but how many games have we broadcast? How many games have we played in where those points eventually add up? Not to be taken lightly. Bombers missed a 2-point convert. They had a 1-point convert blocked earlier.
Now this one, because Larry Taylor never fielded the football and it went out of bounds on its own. It's coming out to the 25-yard line. There is no single point because he didn't catch the ball and concede.
So 2-point deficit still for the Blue Bombers with Taylor not touching. It is not the Rouge, the single. And Whitaker almost was stripped. And then finally just bullied down by Greg Peach.
Johnny Sears just appeared in the picture initially like a human missile. He's shaking his head because he knew he could have stuffed that play for a loss. Brandon Whitaker just dodged the tackle.
Sears looking up at the end zone scoreboard at the video replay right now, watching himself how close it was.
Yeah, he's just coming downhill all the way from his free safety position. Just narrowly missed a big hit.
Again, playing free safety tonight. It's his 4th position with the Blue Bombers. Smith has an open man, have to come back to the football as Chad Johnson had separation, but the ball that time was underthrown. Matt Buckner was down there, and so too was Johnny Sears. Chad Johnson, if you're just with us, had the first major, his first CFL touchdown earlier tonight. Montreal had the lead, lost the lead, had the lead, lost the lead. Been back and forth this tug of war here on a Friday night under a full moon in Montreal. Damon Washington back. Sean White with another great kick. Downfield quickly. Washington made one miss, but not another. 43-yard boot. Bombers down 2. Ocho Cinco with his first touchdown and some love for the ref earlier tonight. His Owls lead by 2. Tonight, lots of ebb and flow, 5 lead changes. Rod Black, Dwayne Ford, John Liu, and our entire crew here. McGill University in Montreal tonight. Winnipeg Blue Bombers trying to keep their unblemished record intact. That's not going to help, though. The pass for Clarence Denmark off the mark.
Well, the latest round in that battle between Denmark and Jeff Tisdale on the short side of the field. Tisdale thought he might have had a shot at a pick on that one.
Drew Willie, man in command, told us yesterday his hero growing up was a guy he actually got a chance to go to camp with in the NFL, Peyton Manning. Love the way he took control. That's what he has to do right now, and the Blue Bombers are not going to get the first down and are going to have to boot it away again. Catch made on the far side by Nick Moore again, but well short of the first down. Mike O'Shea and his upstart Blue Bomber team. Alouettes, who started the season miserably, looking to make it 2 wins in a row. Bad hop to Taylor. He's going backwards. And there was an absolutely hellacious block on this return. Taylor ran about 60 yards, but only picked up 5. Troy Smith, your turn again. What a night this could be for Troy Smith and his continuing evolution.
Yeah, and part of this for Troy Smith, despite what all he's accomplished in his football career, for this former Heisman Trophy winner, a little bit of confidence here in the Canadian Football League could go a long way for him.
Hard hit there again for Whitaker. When you get a chance to meet Troy Smith, you got to realize here's a Heisman Trophy winner. Here's a guy who was a star in NCAA football, ranked as the #1 quarterback of all time at Ohio State University. You get a sense that he's a very humble soul, do you not?
Yeah, absolutely. And even when you talk to him about his Heisman winning season and his college career, one of the things that Troy Smith emphasizes is that where things really turned for him, where he really started to develop as a quarterback at Ohio State, was when he realized it wasn't all about him, it was about the team.
There goes Brandon Whitaker, Damon Washington, and another huge lick from Johnny Sears, but a big game for the Alouettes. They look to take control here down the stretch. 4.5 to go.
To the legs of Whitaker. Smith, Stephen Limbaugh to play a role here down the stretch. They try to grind down that clock. Nice high percentage play call.
I think that Kenny Stafford, and about 7 yards there. Second down, make it 5 yards. Second down and 5. Reminder for those viewers, out west, the Edmonton Eskimos getting ready for kickoff at Commonwealth Stadium against the visiting Ottawa Red Blacks. And the Eskimos, like the Blue Bombers, coming into week 3, perfect, 2-0. Second and 5, play action, lots of time. Kill shot here, and oh no, he can't bring it in. Is S.J. Green. Great coverage downfield. Thought for a moment that might have had one of those octopus catches that S.J. Green is known for. Bruce Johnson in on the coverage.
Gutsy call with all the run plays that have gone on. Go to a little play action, try and take that shot.
For those of you who want to tune into the beginning of that Ottawa-Edmonton game, it's over on TSN2. And of course, once this game ends, it'll be back on the main TSN network. Should be a good one there tonight as well. Challenge flag on the play, and we had a PI challenge earlier, pass interference, and they're going after this one too. This time Montreal looking for the call.
They have a pretty good case.
Montreal was challenging the previous play for pass interference. It will be reviewed.
There's always that gray kind of area about catchable footballs. The thing about S.J. Green, anything near him is catchable.
Yeah, there's a pretty big catching radius with S.J. Green. If he can get one hand on it, don't bet against him.
If you go by the notion of that first interference challenge and the clutch, and this one being sort of a bump or push, you might think that Montreal might get this one.
Yeah, well, you've got the defender, Bruce Johnson, running straight into S.J. Green, making that shove without ever turning back to locate the football, and clearly that contact comes before the ball gets there. Bumping S.J. Green away from the side where the ball is. I think the Alouettes are going to have a pretty good case here.
think you said it perfectly earlier on, though, Dwayne, that both teams, I mean, whatever happens here tonight, this one is completely up in the air, up for grabs, is that both teams have still a lot of work to do. Their work's in progress, and they'll look at tape, but there have been some real strong signs of improvement, particularly offensively for Montreal, particularly for Troy Smith. Yes, he gave up an interception for a touchdown. Yes, a fumble return.
Review, the ruling on the field stands. An incomplete pass.
Incomplete pass. S.J. Green doesn't like that, nor will Tom Higgins. Troy Smith tonight, 16 of 26. 3 touchdown passes. They say that at the command center is not interference.
Sorry, buddy. Okay.
In 5. To angle, this is a big kick again. Demond Washington stops, stutters. Trying to get outside and is stripped by Ellis. Dominic Ellis again. Loose football. Who's got it? It looks like Montreal. And Dominic Ellis has done it again. Demond Washington's worst nightmare tonight. Montreal number 38. And it was Darrell Townsend who came up with the football, but it was Ellis who had the strip. There it is right there. Montreal football. Up 2. The Alouettes lose a PI challenge. Very close to being interference. Turnover-filled game, penalty-filled game. Dominic Ellis, first CFL game, has been a force. Brandon Whitaker, nowhere to go. Back to the line of scrimmage, maybe a little more.
Sometimes you make your way onto the roster as a backup. You earn your stripes on special teams, and it can lead to a larger role. And the way Dominique Ellis has played on teams here tonight in his first CFL game, maybe a bigger role ahead for him on that Montreal Alouette defense.
Former South Carolina State Bulldog. End zone behind S.J. Green. So it'll be 3rd down, and Sean White will return.
And an intentional throw behind there, as that's the side that where Green has position on the defender, similar to his touchdown catch earlier. Just a little wide on that one was the throw from Troy Smith. Green unable to break out to it.
Significant field goal here for Sean White and the Owls to make this a 5-point game. White has been perfect tonight, 3 for 3. This one from about the 24.
Touch the center.
Force the Blue Bombers to get a major score. Chip shot right through for Sean White. 33-28 Alouettes. And again, coming up next, scoreless there in Edmonton. Lots of scoring here.
Comeback win for Mike O'Shea's Winnipeg Blue Bombers a week ago. See if they can do it. Make it 2 straight.
On a hold.
Drew Willie now, 2-minute offense. He's going to send out 6. Over the top. Great play defensively. Was looking for Grigsby on a slant, and one of the officials just got rocked. That play over the middle. Patrick MacArthur, the umpire. Such a dangerous territory, Dwayne.
Winnipeg worked for a matchup that they wanted here. As Kyrus Hebert moved over, he moves from the weak side over to the wide side of the field at the end. When he does that, Nick Grigsby moves into that number 3 receiver slot to the weak side where Hebert was. That leaves him matched up against the middle linebacker, converted defensive lineman, Aaron Laverius. If you're the quarterback, Drew Willie, you like that matchup, but just unable to hook up.
See the umpire shot to the knee here. He buckled.
That's a big body running into him too with Laverius.
I give a lot of credit to those umpires, any of the officials. I mean, it is so hard to be an official in any sport, but that position right there, you have to be fearless. You're right in the thick of it.
A lot of moving parts right there. He got caught that time with his foot planted, cleats in the turf. A big body falling into his leg.
Running around in rush hour traffic and avoiding cars. There's just big bodies down there, and often head's not on his swivel. Can't see them coming at you. Looks like he's going to be helped to his feet here. This has been a long night for this officiating crew. They have been busy. Flags aplenty, penalties from the get-go. And our umpire is going to be replaced here. He's going to the sideline. We've had it all here tonight. And what could be still a thrilling finish for the Blue Bombers. We wish the best to our umpire, Patrick MacArthur.
Those officials do that. They're usually able to stay out of the way with 24 fast-moving bodies out on the field at any given time.
Here's a key down in this ballgame, 2nd and 10. The Bombers will have to boot it away. There goes Drew Willie. He's got the first down and more. Willie has no issue escaping that pocket and taking off. The guy who wears the 2 gloves looks at that wristband and hurries up his Bombers.
You'll see things open up here. Laverius goes inside on the twist. That opens up that B gap. Drew Willie sees the opportunity and makes a great decision to take it.
2 minutes to go. Bombers down 5. Here comes the rush. There goes the football. Picked up by Fioli Godino. Picked up 2 or 3 yards. Again, Drew Willie just lucky to get that one away.
There on the blitz. Got a shot in on the Blue Bomber quarterback. Delivered to pick up 3.
Willie shouts out the play. There's the house again. Willie's rocked, and he got hit hard, and he is on his backside. Overthrew the intended target.
Marco Briette, the free safety, comes on the blitz. He's the 7th rusher versus
illegal
6
contact
blockers.
on a receiver. Montreal, number 12. That's a 10-yard penalty that will result in a first down.
There was a flag thrown, and they've called an interference call on Jeff Tisdale. Keeps the drive alive here. It would have been 3rd and 7.
Match up at the bottom of your screen. See, Tisdale knew he didn't have the help inside, had to impede Nick Moore on that release to save a big play.
Drive alive. Willie again. Grigsby. Marco Briette. What play will the Blue Bombers come up with here? Minute 34 to go. There's Marcel Belfait, the offensive coordinator. The guy they've been going to on 2nd downs for the most part has been Nick Moore. Back to pass again. Rory Colehurt, first down, hangs on to the football. Nice outlet to Rory Colehurt. Clutch catch. Bombers, 1st and 10 from the 34, a minute 18. Drew Willie is looking like a seasoned seasoned quarterback here. Here's the house coming. Willie hit again, and another incomplete pass, and another penalty flag. This one might be against the Blue Bombers because the Alouettes were coming hard and they were trying to stave them off. Drew Willie has fast become a hero in Winnipeg. It's only 2 games in, 3 games in now.
Procedure. Winnipeg, number 68. 5-yard penalty, remaining first down.
That's on the left guard for Darryl Howard. Making his first start of the season with a twitch as he sensed the blitz was coming.
1st and 15. Catch made by Grigsby. That was a gain of about 11 yards. 2nd down, 4 here. Minute to go. Grigsby in the backfield now with Willie. He's throwing again. Willie over the top, and Aaron Kelly, blanket coverage, can't hang on. It comes down to this. 3rd down now for the Blue Bombers.
Pressure's on for Briette again. Willie's got to get rid of that football. With Billy Parker in his hip pocket, Aaron Kelly unable to get a grip on that ball.
25,000 plus on their feet. 3rd and 4. This is the ball game for the Blue Bombers. Willie lets it go. Catch is made. 1st down, Winnipeg. And it is Nick Moore. Clutch grab inside the red zone. Don't go anywhere.
Nick Moore, the middle receiver in that trips formation, 3-receiver alignment into the boundary. Collisions of defender Gerald Brown to get separation.
Blue Bombers have called a timeout here.
Here's Winnipeg in need of a touchdown to win this ball game, but you look back, you never know how it's going to turn out. A blocked extra point, that led them to go for a 2-point convert later in the game. Now you think if they don't have the block earlier in the game, and then they can just go for 1 point on that one later in the game, this is a 3-point ball game. All they would have needed is a field goal instead of a touchdown that would have tied this game.
Drew Willie is 5 for 7 on this drive. 37 yards so far. 17 yards away from Pater. Willie throws. Look out! Should have been picked. Jeff Tisdale just gave the Bombers some life.
And Tisdale looked like he was so locked in on his man that it took him a second to realize that the ball was up for grabs. Hebert again gets free for a shot on Drew Willie.
Tisdale, the CFL pick leader last year. Mike O'Shea watches. 2nd and 10. On the 18-yard line. Here's the rush again. End zone one more time, and again it's going to come down to 3rd down. 30 seconds left. And right now, Drew Willie is just shucking and ducking.
Looked like a little miscommunication as he signaled to his receiver after that play. But you're absolutely right again. Kai Hebert was in the backfield as the ball was being thrown.
Well, they converted 1 3rd down already. Again, ball game here for the Blue Bombers. Good protection this time. Over the top. It's a touchdown! Julian Theoli-Gadino with what could be the winning touchdown. And the legend of Drew Willie continues. Oh my.
The poise. He was hit on virtually every play of that drive, but stood in there. It wasn't the prettiest ball he's thrown all night, but it was exactly where it needed to be. And how about Fioli Gadino with that huge clutch catch?
2 touchdowns already this year. Keep in mind he was with the Argos on their special teams the last couple of seasons. Did not make 1 catch. Was not implemented in their offense, and they had a lot of national players in their receiving corps.
Well, Mike O'Shea would have seen this kid run scout team offense against the Argo defense every day for the last 2 years. He knew what he had.
So the Blue Bombers do the math here. Trying to get a 3-point lead with a 2-point convert. Willie just chucks it up. Jump ball, Aaron Kelly, and a fight in the end zone with Billy Parker. So this one's still not over though. By any stretch is it over. 28 seconds to go. 6 lead changes. The Bombers 28 seconds away from a 3-0 mark.
Here it is. The play, Drew Willie to Julian Fioli Gadino. Elation on the Winnipeg bench. To Drew Willie. Just like he drew it up. Montreal defensive coordinator Noel Thorpe.
Now it'll be very interesting to see what the Blue Bombers do here on the kick. Remember, the ever dangerous Larry Taylor is back. Could give them instant field position. The Alouettes still have plenty of time, Dwayne, to put this in field goal range for Sean White. Even a miss would tie the game. Going down to one knee. Stephen Labala. Curious there. 22 seconds now. Again, 1-point game.
You take a look at this Montreal Alouette offensive lineup. You've got the cannon arm of Troy Smith, Brandon London at 6'4", Kenny Stafford at 6'4", S.J. Green at 6'3". Sounds like a team pretty well built for a Hail Mary type situation. They can just move that ball up around midfield.
Strong arm there, too strong for Brandon Whitaker, who's limping back to the huddle. Took up 7 seconds on the clock. Sean White's career longest field goal, 52 yards. Again, though, they can get it into range. A miss even. You're just going to be talked about the points, how they can pile up. Even a miss, there might be a point where the Blue Bombers have to either run it out or kick it out of the end zone. I mean, the biggest thing for the Alouettes, though, in 2 or 3 plays, they have to get it in range here. They've got to go vertical somehow. 4-man rush. Smith down the sideline and in the hands, almost caught by Chad Johnson. And now it comes down to their last gasp. 3rd down.
Just 12.7 seconds left on the stadium clock. Look for that jump ball that we talked about to try and get that ball into Sean White's range.
Well, this one has been a wild one. The early going in a game that lacks some rhythm for a while because of penalties, miscues, discipline. But comes to this. Smith over the middle, caught! Eric Deslauriers has to get down 6 seconds. Now they may have time for one shot out of bounds for Sean White. The stadium clock reads 5.9 seconds. Montreal takes a timeout.
Montreal.
Eric Deslauriers, another big receiver, gets a step on Desjardins. Again, Troy Smith throws a strike.
Johnny Sears was lucky. He wasn't penalized on that tackle there. Boy, could that have been costly. Would have put them in immediate field goal range. There's the career longest for Sean White. He's been perfect here tonight, but they need a quick out pattern to the sideline here. And again, it only takes 1 point to tie. 3-pointer to win. Here's the key play, though. This they have to get. Whittaker has to go down. So no time virtually left. Just 1 second left on the game clock on the Stadium Point 8. So regardless, they're going to have to boot it. Whether it's a field goal or it's a punt. Now keep in mind, Sean White's punting has been extraordinary this season. He's got the leg to get it in the end zone. But how deep, that's the question. He may be able to kick it through a little farther.
Typically, you can kick a ball farther off the ground than you can on a punt.
61 yards this would be, and this is well beyond his range. Whittaker on the turf.
And with the 14 yards that you're going to give up from the line of scrimmage as to where the punter is going to catch the ball in a punt alignment. Now, one of your other options is to try and throw some kind of hitch and quick kick to get it down to the end zone.
Which would seem a little logical, too, because you can get some yardage and it wouldn't be that long of a kick, but then you're also kicking on the run.
Yeah, exactly. And it's from this range, I think you're going to be, with anybody other than Sean White kicking the ball, you're not, that's not really playing the odds.
Those first two plays were very costly here offensively in this series. The 2 misses to Johnson and Whittaker. Because they very well could have been in this range. It's been this kind of game. Field position. The Blue Bombers clawing back. 2-minute drive engineered by Drew Willie. They've been calling Winnipeg Willie Peg for good reason. The last few weeks they have found their guy. Again, only 3 games in, but who would have thought in the offseason after what they went through? The Blue Bombers, for all intents and purposes, looked like they were going after Zach Collaros. Then they were looked after Henry Burris, and they settle on Drew Willie. And so they are not going to kick.
Hail Mary, be ready for the PI challenge.
Hail Mary or a hook and ladder, didn't matter. Ball game over. And the Winnipeg Blue Bombers are perfect for the first time since 2003. 3-0 to start the season. A nail-biter to the Wild finish. The Blue Bombers win 34-33.